Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ralph Pincus. I am the acting chair for the Board of License and Inspection Review on April the 23rd.
Your video's not on the camera.
Oh, that's a good move.
Just
Oh, I see.
there you go.
All right, let's start again. Good afternoon. My name is Ralph Pincus. I can see myself on the screen, so I presume everyone else can as well. I'm acting chairman for these preliminary matters today. This is a formal hearing today. We ask everyone to treat this as if it's a court. Well, it is. It's a proceeding. It's a formal proceeding. We have the testimony being transcribed. We ask you to be stationary during the hearing, to be dressed appropriately as if you're in a courtroom, to be sitting up. If you're in a vehicle, we ask that the vehicle be parked and not moving, and that you, if you're not in a vehicle, at least you're in some place that gives you and affords you some privacy. What we're going to do at this point is hear from the city regarding matters that have been administratively resolved. And we will go through that for the cases, and then we'll start hearing cases once we've completed the preliminary matters. And Ms. Reinhardt, I presume you're the spokesperson for the city today.
I am Michelle Reinhardt for the city. Good afternoon, acting chairman.
Good afternoon, and let me explain. The first set of matters we're reviewing are called nunc pro tunc applications. It's an old Latin phrase meaning now for then. And what it is in this case, these appeals that we're looking at, there's 10 of them on the list, are appeals that were filed late. And so we're considering whether or not there's adequate justification for this board to accept these late appeals. The first phase of this is, again, considering administratively whether there are any determinations that have resolved some of these matters. Ms. Reinhardt.
The first case is going to be number 2 on the list. This is appeal ending 482 regarding 1107 Titan Street, appellant Florence Mickens. This was withdrawn this morning.
Okay, we'll note it as withdrawn.
Next case is number 4 on the list, appeal ending 514 regarding 1124-28 Dickinson Street, appellant Mateos Drywall Construction. This is moot.
Okay, noted as moot.
Number 8, appeal ending 574 regarding 8126 Germantown Avenue, appellant Irvin B. Boyd. Moot.
This is number 8, correct?
Correct.
So noted.
And then number 9 on the list, appeal ending 576, also 8126 Germantown Avenue, appellant Irvin B. Boyd. Moot.
So noted as moot.
And that is the last of the preliminary matters for the nunc pro tunc list only.
Very good. We have a matter that involves a mnemonic interpreter. Is that interpreter present? Yes. Okay, very good. We don't know whether the appellant is here or not. Do we go to the next list?
This is.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Please remain muted.
We're going through the preliminary matters. In case number 7 on our list, HA 2026-000-551, 2052 East Ontario Street. The appellant is listed as Jorge, if I'm saying it correctly, Danzot. Is Jorge Danzot present? Anyone present for 2062 East Ontario Street?
Mr. Chair, I have it listed as 2052 East Ontario Street. Just
I stand corrected. 2052 East Ontario Street. 2052 East Ontario Street. Is anyone present? Could you give us the status of the notice?
Yep, appellants in this matter listed PO Box 4754, Philadelphia, PA, on both the Nunk-Pro-Tunk and standard appeal applications. Notice of today's hearing was sent to that same mailing address on March 19th, 2026, with a 12 p.m. start time.
Very good. Ms. Reinhardt, under the circumstances, what would the city request?
I would request to be marked dismissed for failure to appear.
Mr. Pettit, would you have the time?
Time is 12:24 PM.
All right, my vote is to dismiss for failure to appear.
Dismissed 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 failure to appear.
Very good. Let me go to case number 10 on the list. Paul Brown doing business as National Mechanics. Is Paul Brown or National Mechanics here?
Yes, I'm here.
Very good. Mr. Brown, do you have an attorney here today?
I do not. No, no, sir.
National Mechanics is also listed on the complaint. It's a limited liability company or corporation. Is that correct, Mr. Brown?
That's correct.
All right. Did you read your notice of violation that you received in the mail that said if you're a corporation, you must have an attorney representing you at these hearings?
Oh,
Did you
no,
see
I did
that
not.
part of your notice?
I did not see that.
Well, it's on the notice, and anyone else who's listening, if you have a corporate entity, you must have representation by a counsel. Under the circumstances, Ms. Reinhardt, are you aware, did you have any conversations on, or anyone from the city on this matter? No? Okay. So we're going to continue the matter, Mr. Brown, so that you can engage the services of counsel or discuss this matter. Maybe it can be resolved, but we'll reschedule it for a hearing and you must have representation by a counsel at the next listing. Okay?
Great, thank you.
Yes, sir. So that, the only other thing is their status call on number 6. I have a note.
I do have an update on that one as well.
You do.
I do.
Please.
So this is, oh no, I touched my
Number
screen.
6 is HA 2026-000545 749 East Hilton Street.
This is appellant Kimberly Merriman, DBA 1934 LLC. This was withdrawn.
It's withdrawn. It's actually 19134
Okay.
LLC, but we'll mark it as withdrawn. So that concludes all of the preliminary matters on the Nunk-Pro-Tunk list. So,
Good afternoon, everyone. I apologize for my tardiness. Let's move on now to the non-contested matters on the regular list. We'll hear from anyone in the room from the law department who will give us a list of preliminary matters to be read into the record.
Okay, I'm gonna let you do this.
I believe you left your list on the floor behind you, sir.
So do you still guys would like me, or do you want me to sign out since the Amharic speaker is not there?
No, we still need you. We haven't called that case. That's going to need the interpreter. So
okay.
just hang
Nope.
tight.
No problem.
Do I have permission to speak?
Nope, please remain muted.
this list.
Just one moment, please. All right. My apologies. Please place your name on the record. Tell us where we are.
Good afternoon, board members. Sean Loeb for the city. I have the preliminary updates on the merits list.
Okay.
First is case number 3, appeal ending in 000995, 604 West York Street, appellant Eng Seek. That matter was withdrawn by the appellant.
Thank you.
Next, case number 4, appeal ending in 002143, 900 West Ontario Street, appellant Aisha Lipscomb. That matter was withdrawn per a settlement agreement.
Oh, there's a settlement agreement?
The appeal was withdrawn.
Okay.
Next is case number 6, appeal ending in 003574, 13 Shannon Way. The appellant is Barty Newsstand. That matter is moot.
Thank you.
Next is case number 8, appeal ending in 003680, 1550 Market Street, appellant Greta and Bradish Shah. That matter is moot.
Thank you.
And I believe that's it for the general preliminaries. My colleagues may have some preliminaries as well.
Okay. Anyone else in the room with a preliminary matter to be read into the record on the regular list?
Hi, board.
Good afternoon.
Hi, John.
Good afternoon, board members. John Wazork for the city. We are discussing matter number 11 on the board's list,
Okay.
appeal ending 2905.
Okay.
For the,
Kevin Mincy on behalf of Mirage Lounge, Shalene Perez.
Okay. Good afternoon. Yep.
this is for 119 South Street. There are 2 appeals
Yeah.
for this. Just for number 11, the city believes this matter can be marked as moot because the city is withdrawing the intent to cease that was
Okay.
issued.
Okay. All right. So that's a moot matter. Mr. Mincy, I assume that you concur with that.
I always love to hear stuff like that, so.
Okay. So we'll note that is moot. Okay. Thank you.
There is one related issue that the city wanted to address, but I think maybe we can save that for.
Yeah, let's say that for later. I assume at the moment, number 10 is still prepared to go today.
That is correct.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. Any other preliminary matter for the record? Anyone virtual who has a preliminary matter for the record?
Yes, board members, this is Michael Rouleau on behalf of the city. I'd like to direct your attention to number 13 on the list, appeal ending 000900, 4235 Germantown Avenue. And there is Mr. Joseph Consul, who's the counsel for the appellant. I believe the board is in receipt of a continuance request that was submitted by Mr. Consul. And as I indicated in my response, that the city is not due to, it was a request due to a personal matter that came up. I'm not going to oppose that continuance request in this instance. While this was an emergency appeal, the cease has already been implemented. And as far as the city is aware, the cease is being complied with.
Okay. I'd like to hear on the record, though, Mr. Consul, because given that this was an emergency appeal that was granted, to now have a request to continue it is a bit concerning. So I'd like to hear from counsel for the appellant.
Yes, I understand. I was unaware at how these matters proceeded. I'm not available further out than a couple hours from now because of family obligations. So they need an attorney. I'm here. We're separately working with my client to deal with a few things that I think would be helpful if we're able to get continued here. Given some information we got last night, it just does. I'm not able to sit around, but also we believe we can present a stronger case and deal with the city on more better footing if we can have it.
Okay, given that the city is not opposed to it, we will grant a continuance with a must be tried caveat, okay?
Yes, thank you.
Requirement. All right, thank you. Anything else from Mr. Rulo?
No, I just wanted to note for the record, the property is under that cease and the city will be monitoring compliance with that cease as far as I'm aware, so.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else with a preliminary matter? Yes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Directing your attention to number 9 on the list. This is appeal ending 1801 regarding 1255 North Dover Street. Appellant Teresa Smith. She reached out to board's administration and indicated that she had a funeral today out of state. This is the second listing. I do not oppose a continuance request on that limited basis, but would ask that this be scheduled sooner rather than later and marked must be tried at the next listing.
Okay, we will continue this matter with a must be tried requirement. Again, please communicate that, in fact, it will be resolved at the next hearing date.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else virtual with a preliminary matter for the list? Mrs. Laughlin, do you have a matter for that preliminary matter? Yes.
Yes, Roses Lachlan for the City of Philadelphia. The first is the case listed number 1 on the regular matters, appeal ending 4096 for 2825 Chatham Street, primary appellant Arsen Memenage. This matter has been resolved by agreement to be marked as city affirmed with 60-day stay of enforcement.
60-day stay. Okay, thank you very much.
And then the matter listed number 2 on the regular list, appeal ending 4344 regarding 1600 Ridge Avenue, primary appellant Dan Atchik, doing business as 1600 Ridge Avenue, Inc. The city made a request for a continuance for this matter. The attorney for the city that has been involved in negotiations and resolving this matter is unavailable today. And attorney for 1600 Ridge Avenue, David Garcia, did not oppose the continuance request.
Okay, are you the counsel? You are not, I assume, the assigned counsel for this case then?
Correct.
Okay, and so the request, this is a joint request for continuance?
Yes.
And this is the second listing, so again, we're concerned that we're sort of adding to this list of continuances for this matter. Are we close to a resolution or not, do you think?
Yes, from the last update I received, this matter is close to resolution.
Okay, we will grant a continuance with a must be tried requirement.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Alrighty, the board, I believe, has a few matters to just request further information about. Give me a moment. Number 12. That's 1227, 247, 2427 North 15th Street, Tierra Spates.
Yes.
Is Tierra Spates present?
Yes.
And we do have the sign language interpreter for this particular case.
Oh, okay. And let's do this then. Miss Spates, can you turn on your video?
Can you see me?
Yes. Okay. As I understand it, Ms. Spates, you require the assistance of a sign language interpreter?
Yes.
Okay. Who's the sign language interpreter?
Ahmed, I believe so.
Okay, well, no, I'm not asking you. I'm asking the administrator.
That would be Miss Fraley, Miss Christina Fraley, if you're still, I see your picture. Are you still with us? Miss Christina Fraley, the sign language interpreter. I see your photo on the Zoom. I did speak with her earlier.
Okay, let's do this. Ma'am, because the interpreter is not presently available, we're going to just set this aside for a moment and come back to you. So just don't, stay with us. Keep your video on. We'll come back to you in a few moments, as soon as we connect with the interpreter, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you. My apologies. Okay. Alrighty, I believe that concludes our list of preliminary matters. What we will do now is to go back to the non-pro-tunc list, and we will hear of two remaining non-pro-tunc matters. We'll do that before we get back to Ms. Spate's case.
I would like to call the one with the Amharic interpreter, who I do believe is still on the line with us. That is going to be case number 5. That is appeal ending 0543 for 6910 Reed Bird Place, appellant Tigist Barry Hun.
Okay, and who's the interpreter for this matter? Okay. All right, ma'am, would you please unmute yourself, please?
Yeah.
Give us your name
Almaz.
and your last name.
Last name Asra Sahai. Normally we don't give that last name, but I have ID number, interpreting ID number.
Okay, I didn't understand what you just said.
I said typically we don't give last name, but we do provide the ID number, which is I'm happy to give it to you.
Okay, all righty.
It is.
Give us the ID number, please.
Yeah, it is U as in uniform, H as in hotel, 360.
Okay, raise your right hand to be sworn.
Absolutely.
Do you swear and affirm that you will faithfully translate from English to Amharic the proceedings concerning 6910 Redbird Place, Tigist Barry Hun?
Okay, yes, I do.
All right, thank you. Ma'am, place your hand down. What we would like you to do from this point forward, please interpret everything that's said in English in Amharic and everything that's responded to in Amharic in English, okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's read the matter in.
This is case number 5, appeal ending 0543.
Interpreter?
Oh, sorry, I thought it was for, can you repeat the number, please, for me?
Case number 5, appeal ending 0543.
የዚህ ኬዝ ቁጥሩ 5054 ነው የጉዳዩ።
For address 6910 Reed Bird Place.
69. Can you repeat the address, please?
6910 Reed Bird Place.
Reed Bird Place. አድራሻ ደግሞ አድራሻ የዚህ አድራሻ 6910 ሪፕሌስ የሚባል የጎዳናው ስም ማለት ነው።
Primary appellant is Tigist Barry Hun.
ዋና ባለ ጉዳይ እዚህ ትዕግስት ብርሃን። I think Birhan.
Is Ms. Birhan present? Interpreter, please. Ms. Birhan, are you present?
ትዕግስት ብርሃን አለሽ?
Anyone else present who's representing the interests of 6910 Reed Bird Place?
ለ6910 የወከለ ለትዕግስት የምትባል ሰው አለ እዚህ?
Okay, no one has responded. Let's confirm service.
Appellant.
Wait. Interpreter?
Yeah.
Please interpret what I just said, please.
Yeah, I was going. ማንም ለዚህ የቆመ ሰው የለም አሁኑ ሰዓት።
Appellants in this matter listed 6910 Reed Bird Place, Philadelphia, PA on their appeal applications.
እዚህ ደግሞ 911. Can you repeat the address name, the street name again? I don't
Reed Bird, REED. Yep. BIRD.
ፕሌስ የሚባል ፋለፊያ የሚገኝ ቦታ ነው።
Notice of today's hearing was sent to that same mailing address on March 19th, 2026.
በጽሁፍ ደግሞ ደብዳቤ ወደዛኛው አድራሻ ተልኮ ነበረ በ3ኛው ወር በ19 2026
Okay, thank you. There's no response. What is the city's pleasure?
Sean Logue for the city. This hearing no response, the city requests that this appeal be dismissed for failure to appear.
ይሄ ደግሞ ስለ ያንን ባለ ጉዳይ ስላልቀረበ ዝም ብለን እንዘጋዋለን ስላልቀረበ ወደ ጉዳዩ
What time do we have?
ስንት ሰዓት ነው ያለን?
12:44 p.m.
12:44 ሰዓት.
Thank you. We will now poll the board.
አሁን የቦርድ ያሉ እዚህ ተወካዮች ያወራሉ.
Regarding HA 2026 000543.
አሁን ደግሞ እነሱ ስለ ኤች የሚባል ኤ የሚለው 20260053 ስለሱ ተወክለው ደግሞ ያወራሉ.
6910 Reed Bird Place.
አሁንም 910 ሪፕሌስ ፕሌስ የሚባለው ስለዚህ ጉዳይ
Tajes Berhum.
ስለ ትዕግስት በርሁ.
This matter is dismissed for failure to appear.
ይህንን ኬዝ ደግሞ እንዘጋዋለን ስላልቀረበች.
Dismissed for failure to appear.
ይህ ጉዳይ ይዘጋል ስለ ወደ ጉዳዩ ስላልቀረበች በዚህ
Dismissed for failure to appear.
መልስን እኔም ዘጋዋለሁ ስላልቀረበ.
Dismissed failure to appear.
ስላልቀረበች ዘጋዋለሁ.
Dismissed for failure to appear.
ስላልቀረበች እኔም ዘጋዋለሁ.
Dismissed failure to appear.
እኔም ዘጋዋለሁ ስላልቀረበች.
Okay, thank you. This matter is completed, ma'am. The interpreter, I believe that concludes.
The sign language interpreter should remain on the call, though.
በቃ ስለዚህ ጉዳይ ጨርሰናል ባለ ጉዳይ ስለሌለ. Thank you for using our service. I'll disconnect myself then.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Could I get a breakout room with Ms. Spites and a sign language interpreter, please? Thank you.
Okay, so we need to allow you opportunity to communicate with the sign language interpreter and the appellant.
Yes, please. I think we may be able to resolve it,
Oh,
but
okay.
I would just need like 5 minutes to speak with them.
Okay, Ms. Space, they're going to provide you a breakout room. So follow the prompts on the bottom of your screen. That's to both of you, the sign language interpreter and yourself. And the attorney would like to speak to you separately before we have a hearing, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay.
Prompts were sent. Okay, I'm going to move us to number 1 on the Nunk-Pro-Tunk list. That's appeal ending 0479 for 4400 Ashburner Street, appellant Roselia Marquez.
Okay, who's representing the city?
Good afternoon, Michelle Reinhardt for the City of Philadelphia.
Good afternoon. Rosella Marquez. Rosella Marquez, are you present? No one is responding. Anyone present representing the interests of 4400 Ashburner Street, Rosella Marquez? No response, that's confirmed service.
Appellants in this matter listed 4400 Ashburner Street on both the Nunk-Pro-Tunk and standard appeal applications. Notice of today's hearing was sent to that same mailing address on March 19th, 2026.
Okay, what is the city's pleasure?
The city requests that this case be dismissed for failure to appear.
Okay, what time do we have?
12:48 p.m.
12:48 p.m. We will poll the board regarding HA 2026-000479, 4400 Ashburner Street, Rosella Marquez. This matter is dismissed for failure to appear.
Dismiss for failure to appear.
Dismiss for failure to appear.
Dismiss failure to appear. Dismiss for failure to appear.
Dismissed, failure to appear.
Okay, thank you.
Last on the nunc-pro-tunc list should be number 3, and I do apologize. I believe that appellant is in the room with us. That is appeal ending 0504 for 3301 Bly Ave, appellant Yan Yun Chen.
Okay, who's representing the city?
Good afternoon, Michelle Reinhardt for the City of Philadelphia.
Okay, the appellant's present. If you are, please come forward. Ms. Chen?
Hi, good afternoon. I'm just helping her translating.
No. Your name? Okay, if she needs assistance, then we have to know that, and we can have a professional interpreter come and provide assistance. You can't do that. We don't allow non-professional interpreters, okay? It's required by our procedures. So what we need is, can she give us her name? So she has to sit here where you're sitting.
Yan Yun Chen.
Ms. Chen, do you need an interpreter? And what language do you need interpreted?
Yes, Chinese.
Which dialect? Mandarin? Okay, so any response from the city?
No opposition to continuance for an interpreter.
Okay, we will continue this matter, schedule it a different day. We will have a Mandarin interpreter present to provide assistance, okay? All right, because that's the only way we can do it. We can't do it with family members assisting, okay? So please explain that to her. Yeah, you'll get a different schedule. They'll send you a new communication to your mother, and they'll explain to her, and we'll have an interpreter present at that time. Okay? Thank you.
Ms. Reinhardt, is this something, if you can communicate, you might be able to resolve?
I'm going to see if we can talk in the hallway. Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes the nunc-pro-tunc list.
Okay. All right, thank you. Let's do this. I don't believe we have any preliminary matters left on the regular list. So why don't we just move to the regular list and get that underway, and we hopefully will stay ahead of schedule.
That works for me. So we can move to number 5 on the regular list. That is appeal ending 3481 for 1100 Walnut Street, appellant Umesh Sai, represented by Richard DeMarco Esquire.
Okay, who's representing the city?
Good afternoon, Board. Madeline Naprokowski on behalf of the city.
Good afternoon. And is Mr. DeMarco present?
He is emailing me right now because I believe we have an agreement, but I'm just confirming that. So he's saying he can join the Zoom now. Part of the agreement is that he would agree to withdraw those matters. If you'd like, I can email him and.
Yes. Yes. And if you could
hopefully
give.
This is him right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Down to the wire there.
Move a little faster than usual.
Yeah. It's good though.
Mr. DeMarco, I believe you just joined us. Mr. DeMarco, are you able to unmute?
And turn on.
Yes. Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Okay. All right, sir. If you could just sort of place your name on the record, please.
Yeah, certainly. Richard DeMarco, DeMarco, last name, spelling.
Okay, and you're counsel for Umesh Shah?
Yes.
Okay, and the city is represented. There is an agreement, a settlement in this matter. So
Yes.
we will wait to hear from the city to present the settlement.
Yeah, so it would just be that by agreement, the matter would be withdrawn. There also is a 90-day stay of enforcement.
Right.
Okay, withdrawn with a 90-day stay of enforcement.
Yes, I just sent the signed documents to the city attorney literally a minute ago.
Okay, thank you very much. And
Thank
I believe that concludes this matter. Okay, have a good day.
All right, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Thank you,
Hold on,
Madeline.
Sorry,
Thank
has
you.
one more matter on the list, number 7.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right, we might as well call that one while you're here.
Yep, so that
Okay.
would be appeal number 7, ending 3575 for 1607 Pioneer Way, appellant NERAM LLC, also represented by Mr. DeMarco.
Okay, who's
Yeah,
representing the city?
that address was something else.
That is something on our schedule. That's not where the newsstand was actually
Oh,
located.
fine, good. Okay.
Okay.
And Madeline Nabrikowski on behalf of the city.
Mr. Abrakowski, okay, you have any witnesses for today?
Nope, this is also an agreement. It is
Okay.
the same terms, basically. It is a withdrawal with a 90-day stay of enforcement.
Okay, all right, Mr. DeMarco, you can confirm those terms?
I can. Thank you for your patience. Thank you.
Okay, so
And
this
thank you
matter
to
is
the
noticed,
city.
okay, 90-day stay, withdrawn 90-day stay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Madeline.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you.
Have a
Okay,
good
that concludes those
Yep.
matters. And I believe we have 2 remaining matters for today's hearing.
We
Liz?
do. I was going to double check because nobody was in the room, but number 10 on the list, I believe, is Mr. Wazorik's case.
Okay. All righty.
That is appeal ending 3876 for 119 South Street, appellant Sonika Samesh or Mirage Lounge, doing business as Shalim Enterprises.
Mr. Mincy is in the hallway. My colleague's grabbing him. I believe there may be a witness issue at this time in terms
Okay.
of, I do not believe his client is here and I have to call my witness. I do not believe Lieutenant Rogers is on the call yet.
Should we go off the record, take an executive session while you 2?
I would appreciate that.
Okay, let's do this. Mr. Mincy, just give us how much time do you need for your witness to resolve? Your witness here, everything's ready to go?
One witness in the building, and then Mr. Pervez is, I think, parking and on his way up.
Okay, but I know you had a subpoenaed witness. I'm asking, is that person here?
Witness is here.
Oh, okay. And so the city is now trying to connect with its witness. So let's do this. It is now about 7:01. Let's go off the record until 1 o'clock and we'll come back. Hopefully everybody's settled and ready to go.
Okay.
Okay?
Chair, excuse me, this is the court reporter. Now that we're off the record, could I ask Mr. Mincy to get a little closer to the microphone? I'm struggling a bit.
Yep. Will do.
Yeah, you'll need to pull it to your chest, unfortunately.
I got
Okay?
you. I got you.
All right. On the record?
Actually, Chair, I need to discuss something with you in executive.
Oh, okay. Just one moment. Okay, Mr. Kelly? Thank you very much. Okay, I believe we may have something for the record for case number 12. Who represents 1227?
Good afternoon, board members. Sean Loeb for the city.
Good afternoon.
This is, sorry.
Then we have a sign language interpreter present. Okay, Miss Christina Fraley.
Yes, sir, I'm
Okay.
here.
Okay, would you get closer to your microphone so that we can hear you?
Yes, is that better?
Much better, thank you. Okay, ma'am, would you raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you swear or affirm that you will faithfully translate in American Sign Language from to spoken English and from English, spoken English to American Sign Language for 2427 North 15th Street, Tierra Spates?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, thank you. Alrighty, ma'am, from this point forward, please interpret everything that's said and spoken and respond to everything that's signed in English.
Yes,
Ms.
sir, the
Spates?
deaf individual says she would like to speak for herself using her own voice.
Okay, hold on a moment. Council, any concerns regarding, we have an interpreter specifically upon request?
The city does not object. I was able to communicate with Ms. Bates. She did speak for herself, but I guess that's more of a question for board council than
Board council?
than me.
We can maintain the interpretation and allow the appellant to speak with her voice.
Okay. So this is what we will do, Ms. Spates. Everything that is spoken by the panel or by legal counsel will be signed. You will be permitted and given the option of responding yourself in English. Okay? You please unmute.
Yes, that's okay.
Ma'am, if you would raise your right hand so that you can maybe sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you give today will be the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. You can place your hand down. Okay, we have a settlement to read into the record.
Yes, the city was able to reach a settlement agreement with the appellant, and the terms of that agreement are city affirm with a 120-day stay of enforcement.
City affirm, 120-day stay of enforcement. Alrighty, Ms. Space, do you agree with that, the terms of that agreement?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, that, I believe that resolves that matter then.
It does.
Okay, thank you. All the witnesses as well as the appellant are excused.
Ms.
And-
Bates, I'll follow up with you via email. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Fraley, we thank you for your services. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
And that concludes my business as well.
Yes. Okay, let's call our next matter.
Right, that brings us back to number 10 on today's list, appeal ending 3876 for 119 South Street, appellant Sonika Samesh Mirage Lounge, doing business as Shalim Enterprises, represented by Mr. Kevin Mincy.
Okay, just one moment. Just one moment. I have a couple preliminary things. Just give me a moment. Okay. We will, I believe we read this matter into the record, haven't we, for today? Okay. So, I mean, this is a continuation. This is a resumption of a hearing that was scheduled. What was the last date?
The last hearing began on February 12th, 2026.
2/12/26. And because we have a different mix of panelists, there are two individuals who are sitting currently on the panel will not hear today's case. And so that we will be able to proceed without any hiccups. And so we will be hearing this not as a quorum, but as a panel, as provided by code. So Mr. Pettit and Mr. Pincus will be deserting us, and they will not be hearing the case today. So we will proceed with the four panelists. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All righty. I believe any preliminary statements before we begin today's, resume today's hearing from the city. Actually, I need both counsel to put your name on the record so that we can have a formal record noted. The city?
John Wazorek, WIECZOREK, on behalf of the city of Philadelphia.
Okay. Mr. Rizori?
Kevin Mincy on behalf of Shalim Enterprises, LLC, MINCEY.
Okay.
Joined at council table by my associate Jennifer Nern, NEARN.
Okay, Jennifer Nern. Okay. But the principal presentations will be done by you, Mr. Mincy?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, already. So I believe had the city put its case on completely?
If I may then?
Yes, please.
So far, the city has had Supervisor Natasha Lee with the Department of Licenses and Inspections testify. She is also the supervisor of the nuisance property unit. She testified about the SAOL denial, which we're here for today, and also testified to an open notice of violations at the time of the SAOL denial. The city also had Captain Stephen Ritchie. Captain Ritchie was the commanding officer of this South Street mini district. It's like a a district within a district for the third district. He was the commanding officer for a good chunk of time relevant to this appeal. And he just testified about his experience with the property, the calls, the police investigations, code violation notices, and their attempts to work with the business to try to bring it into compliance. And so my last witness, who I want to confirm attendance for, I believe I saw her name on the call, is Lieutenant Floria Colbert Rogers.
Okay, Lieutenant Rogers, are you present?
I am.
Okay, if you could turn on your camera, please. Okay, Lieutenant, are you parked in a safe place?
I am.
All right, thank you. Please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rizor?
Good afternoon, Lieutenant Rogers. Can you please state your full name for the record?
Gloria Colbert Rogers. COLBERT-RODGERS.
And just as a point, Lieutenant Rogers, you're currently suffering from allergies, correct?
That is correct.
So if the board needs any clarification, please don't hesitate to ask.
We will.
Lieutenant Rogers, who is your employer?
The city of Philadelphia.
What department within the city of Philadelphia?
Police department.
How many years have you been with the Philadelphia Police Department?
28 years.
Lieutenant Rogers, what is your current title and role within the police department?
My current title is lieutenant. I work for the traffic division. I handle large major events within the city. We conduct escorts. We work any type of runs or any type of funerals, things of that nature within the city. We block the street and we keep the flow of traffic going through the city.
And Lieutenant Rogers, what was your most recent role prior to your current role with the traffic division?
I was a lieutenant on the South Street in the South Street mini station.
Approximately how long were you on the South Street mini district?
For approximately 6 months.
And approximately what time frame were you on the South Street mini district?
From the end of May, approximately May 23rd, until November the 23rd.
Could you just briefly for the board describe the territory? Lieutenant Rogers, what year were those dates for?
2025.
Thank you. Lieutenant Rogers, could you give the board a general description of the South Street mini district?
Yes. So we do a lot of community work. So I would go from Lombard over to Bainbridge and Fitzwater. We survey the area. We answer radio calls. We do store checks. We have mirror encounters. And I check licenses of the stores within that perimeter.
And what is the specific perimeter of the mini district?
So it goes from, we start at Broad Street, Broad and South. I cover from Lombard on Broad to Bainbridge, all the way down to Front Street.
And Lieutenant Rogers, could you kind of give the board an idea of the type of businesses, residences, the kind of community that you served as the lieutenant for the mini district?
So on South Street and the surrounding, we do have churches. We have homes, high-rise apartments, condominiums, and storefronts, as well as foods and bars. A lot of hookah spots in the area, and they have clubs in the area.
Thank you, Lieutenant Rogers. Now moving on, what were your specific responsibilities and duties as the lieutenant for the South Street mini district?
So I worked along the corridors, whether it was on Lombard, South, or Bainbridge. I answered radio calls just as my officers did. I went into the stores. I checked licenses to make sure that they were in under the code properly. I also responded to any radio calls that may have came out if there was a radio call, I backed the officers up and helped them with the radio calls. I did training with my officers and I worked inside of our office.
Lieutenant Rogers, are you familiar with the business known as Mirage Lounge?
Yes.
Do you know what the address of Mirage Lounge is?
She's frozen. She's back.
I didn't hear it.
I'm going to rephrase that. Can you hear me right now, Lieutenant Rogers?
I can.
You froze for a second. Just pause if that happens again and we can figure it out. So I'm going to re-ask my question. I believe you just answered that you were familiar with Mirage Lounge. My next question was, what is the address of Mirage Lounge?
119 South Street.
And who is the owner of Mirage Lounge, to your knowledge?
I have received an email from a Mr. Salim Perez before. So I believe he is the owner.
What type of business does Mirage Lounge conduct?
At the time, I would say they were a club. There was hookah smoking in the club. There was food being supplied from this venue. And they had on various different times, they would have like large crowds to have birthday parties and things like that.
Thank you. And going back to my earlier question, how did you specifically become familiar with Mirage Lounge?
Working on South Street. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So I work on South Street. There had been numerous calls that came through for disturbances, loud music, and things of that nature. And we would respond to the area. And the area would be the area in which Mirage was in. So we would ask them to move their patrons along. A lot of times their patrons would come out on the street and go across the street from the location, because I've been on the street during the end of their night, where they would come out and they talk really loud and play music from their cars really loud.
And then just one more question, Lieutenant Rogers. How does Mirage Lounge compare to the other bars and clubs within your mini district?
For the 6 months that I was there, I had more complaints within that area of the South Street as opposed to any other area. I also had the area, because the tenants would call and say that they were either blocking the sidewalk with the bike racks. They would absolutely have cones in the street. I would have to ask them to move the cones from the street. They would utilize that for parking. Even when we, on the weekends, would close the street down, they knew that the cars were not supposed to be parked there. Yet there would be cars that would come through and park, and the participants would go into their clubs or stop and wait for food when we had already cleared the street. So I had more calls in that area as opposed to any of the other areas that I serviced.
Thank you, Lieutenant Rogers. Is there anything else you can add for the board regarding Mirage Lounge?
No, sir.
Thank you. No further questions. I offer for cross.
Okay, any cross-examination?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Lieutenant.
Good afternoon, sir.
Lieutenant, you mentioned that you were getting complaints for that area of South Street. Is that as specific as you can be with the complaints?
So they would tell us in their complaints that the people were out on the street and they're making loud noises, talking loud, and playing music. We would be there for the close of that area. So it was an after hour. He would close at 2. Sometimes it would take them until 2:30 to come out, where their patrons would go across the street, like just a little ways from the actual bar, and they'd hang out on the street corner. We would be in the area to keep watch of the area to make sure everybody was okay. The bouncers would move their patrons down the street towards Patty Wax, which was 2nd Street. And then those same patrons would make noise and they would actually play their music. So it was right in that little cubby that the music and all the loud noises was taking place.
So the complaints that you were responding to were from people and not Mirage. Is that fair?
That is fair. It was from 911 calls that were coming through.
And the 911 calls, those are coming from, I guess, people that live in the neighborhood?
I don't know where they were coming from. I responded to the calls because I was on the street. So I would take care of the call. So we get the call through radio dispatch. I was already there because they close at 2 and I seen them move them down. We would ask the gentlemen to cut the music down or leave that corner from making the noise. We'd explain that there was a complaint. And at that time, they'd still hang around for a little bit, but then they would walk away.
And it sounds like Mirage's employees would be doing their best to get the people to leave the area. Is that a fair characterization of your testimony?
So I would think that because they saw us, and especially me, because I would circle around in the area, once they saw the police was there, that's when they attempted to move them along.
Do like private citizens or security, like people that work at Mirage, do they have the authority to tell citizens to leave public sidewalks?
Objection. That's not a question for Lieutenant Rogers to answer.
Well, wait a minute.
It's a question of law, whether they have the legal authority to do
Okay, will you
something.
restate that, please?
Do like private security or citizens, like the folks who work at Mirage, have the authority to tell other citizens to leave a public
Okay,
sidewalk?
I will overrule the objection. Lieutenant,
So
can you
as
answer that?
I can answer as best as I can. So I don't know exactly what they said to their patrons. What I can tell you is they addressed their patrons and their patrons went to another location within that. Hello? I'm sorry.
We can hear you.
Went into another location in front of another bar that was on South Street that was closed. Now, as far as giving the legal right, you can ask them to move down the street. Whether they do or not, I mean, it's free will for them, I would suppose. But these are patrons that came from your business. You would ask them to be mindful of the area in which you service. So because he has other people, he has neighbors above him and across from him. So just to be courteous to your neighbors, I would think that they would ask them to, be quiet and cut your music down.
Yeah. Before we leave this point, I think the final point here is that do they have police authority to enforce
No.
Crowd control beyond the doors of the bar?
Police authority, they do not.
Okay, thank you.
And would you and the other officers that were working that area with you, would they be removing the people from the street who were making the noise?
Once we came on to the scene and spoke to them, they would stick around for a little bit, but then they would leave and get in their cars. Because on South Street, that music tends to get, the way that the music they blast, you can get a $2,000 ticket for that music.
Sure, from people in their cars, correct?
Yes, in their cars. And some of the patrons that came out, it was their cars. They would get in their cars. And we tried to work with them because we knew it was a business, but we need them to respect what was going on in the neighborhood. And we asked them, most of the times they would comply with us.
Now, in your time working down in the South Street mini district, were there times where Mirage was allowed to use cones to protect parking spaces for whether it was patrons or employees?
So since I've been there, I've seen the cones, but because we have to clear the street, I've asked them to remove the cones because nothing should be on the street holding any spaces. As you know, we speak about this when there's snow, we don't hold spaces. So when I asked him to remove the cones, he did.
So is it fair to say that in your experience in dealing with the folks at Mirage, they would be compliant with the requests that you would make to assist with dealing with the neighborhood?
Not all the time. They assisted with the cones, but I had a problem with loud music. I'd asked them to cut the music down, and I've actually asked one of the managers to go back in. Each time that he would cut it down, it just seemed like it would not move. So I would not say he complied with all my requests, sir.
So when you would be dealing with loud music complaints, that would be actually for Mirage. Is that what you're telling us?
That would be the area in which the complaint was going on, and they would be the only ones open at that time.
And that was at the time when they had the valid special assembly license. Is that right?
That is not correct.
I'm sorry. Well, when was the special assembly license terminated?
I don't know the date of termination, but when I asked for their license, they did not have a special assembly occupancy license. And when I came in, I would say in the early summer months. I got there in May, I would say about June and July. And then as I went in and did my bar check, they also gave me expired licenses for food, the SAOL, and other, I think their liquor license was expired at the time as well. And I explained that, I did. Sir, it's fine. I did cite them, and I explained to them that their license had to be on location. He said he had it. It was not on location.
And when was that?
In the early summer months. I cannot give you the actual date of my bar check, but each time I did a check, I did a 48, which is an incident report.
Anything else?
Was there ever a time, are you familiar with the gentleman, Lieutenant Ricci?
I am.
Was there a
It's
time?
Ricci.
Was there a time when Lieutenant Ricci gave permission to Mirage to use the cones for parking?
Object is beyond the.
Sir, I don't.
Excuse me.
Wait. There's an objection. Don't say anything yet, Lieutenant. I need to hear the objection.
I would object as beyond the scope of direct examination.
It was literally what she talked about in direct examination, the parking and the cones.
Okay, but she's here. You asking her if someone else gave permission for the cones to be there?
I'm asking if she knows about whether or not there was permission to use the cones. I mean, she's testifying.
Okay,
so-
I'll overrule that. Okay. All right, please respond, Miss Lieutenant.
I do not know if he gave them permission.
Okay. Thank you, Lieutenant. I don't have any other questions for you.
Thank you. Any addition, any redirect?
No
Mr. Reserve?
redirect and no additional witnesses for the city.
Okay. All right, thank you. So that concludes the city's presentation? Okay.
That's correct.
All right, Mr. Mintz, is your opportunity to bring your witnesses forward?
Yes.
Okay.
Shalem Enterprises calls Raheem Manning.
Okay. And
Where
is
would
he
you like Mr.
present?
Manning to testify?
Okay, we're gonna have to come up with something. You may lose your assistant because he has to be sitting next to you, and we only have 2 mics, unfortunately.
We'll make it work.
Okay. Now, Mr. Mincy, if in fact you need to take a moment for a sidebar, let us know. We can go off the record at some point, given the logistics right now.
With your colleague.
Oh, but thank you. I'll do my best.
Okay.
Can the court reporter hear me?
Yeah, you'll need to pull that closer to you, and then your witness will have to swivel back to him.
Like singing a duet.
Yes, you got to do that. You're going to have to do that. But, okay. But the other reason I said to you is that I'd rather you not whisper, because half of what you say is going to be heard.
Understood.
And so I'd rather you go off the record and have a sidebar. That way keeps the record clean and you can do what you need to do.
Thank you.
Okay? And your witness?
State your name for the record.
Raheem Manning, Raheem, last name Manning, Manning.
Mann?
Ing.
Okay, Manning. Sir, would you raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you give today be the truth so help you God?
I do.
All right, thank you.
Just for the record, the city's going to object to using Director Manning as a witness, and I'd ask for an offer of proof as to what he will testify that is relevant to this hearing.
Okay, all right, provide some foundation. Yeah.
As the board knows, part of Shalem Enterprises' defense is that there's been, I'm going to say, discriminatory or uneven complaints from neighbors and neighborhoods to police departments, and then to the South Street District, and then the South Street District treated Shalem Enterprises and Mirage Lounge particular different than it has other enterprises. And Mr. Manning, as the director of nightlife for the city of Philadelphia, is privy to some of the complaints and the efforts to bridge the gap between the neighbors in South Street, the South Street Police District, and Mirage Lounge, and can talk about his observations from regarding the neighbors, the complaints, and the conduct of the police related to all of those complaints.
Okay, well, also, will he speak to the issue of any legitimate complaints and whether or not licenses were renewed appropriately and et cetera?
I guess whenever he's cross-examined, if council asks
Okay.
questions that are appropriate. I mean, I have a list of questions that I
Okay.
plan to talk to him about.
Well-
I don't know if I'm necessarily going to cover everything that you're asking me about. And obviously, of course,
Okay.
Chair, you have the authority to ask questions as
Well,
well.
I'm asking my question principally because I want you to understand this is going to be narrowed down as opposed to be expanded out regarding his knowledge, his participation, and his role. Because we hear about whether the license was appropriately denied and whether or not there's activity that occurred at various times that was inappropriate. If he can speak to those things, that's great. But generally, whether or not the owners got along with everybody else is not for
Well,
this hearing.
I think because this deals with, because the license was denied on suitability concerns, and in the letter that they presented, it says suitability determinations take into account community concerns, particularly those of neighbors in the immediate vicinity, as well as the views of the police department.
Right.
That's why Mr. Manning's testimony would be relevant, as he had direct contact with those neighbors and the police department relating
Okay.
to the suitability complaints that were made.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, we're gonna keep it narrow and, okay? All right, I heard you, anything else regarding the objection?
Just as Mr. Mincy was saying, right? This is about the suitability for the neighborhood. First of all, Mr. Manning had no involvement with the city's decision to deny the license, correct? We all would agree on that. Now, to the extent Mr. Mincy's saying this is about suitability, and maybe Mr. Manning can speak to the neighbors would be the witness for that, not this secondhand source that may be or may not be able to testify about some of these neighborhood issues. I believe having a neighbor or a member of an RCO here to testify to those concerns would be the correct witness, not a member of the city, which I believe is inappropriate to have as a witness for this
Maybe
hearing.
for the city.
Okay, wait a minute. So I've heard the objection and heard your response. We will permit him to continue as a witness. We overrule the objection, but I want you to understand that we're really looking to narrow this in.
Yes,
I want focused testimony,
Yes,
okay?
sir. Yes, sir.
Anything from? Okay, let's proceed.
Okay. Mr. Manning, who do you work for?
The City of Philadelphia.
What is your role in the city of Philadelphia?
I am the Senior Director for the Nighttime Economy based out of the Department of Commerce.
In your role, does your office handle when conflicts arise between nightlife businesses and neighborhood organizations?
Yes, that's one of the many things we do.
Are you familiar with Mirage Lounge?
I am.
I'm going to show you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mincy, could you use the microphone, please?
Mr. Manning, I'm going to direct your attention to what was in Shalem Enterprises Exhibit Packet, Exhibit D. I'm handing a copy. Does the board has copies of our exhibits? I have copies.
Unless were they submitted?
Yes.
to the board? I mean, were they submitted to the administrative early on?
They were submitted prior to the
February.
last hearing, yeah.
Okay, do you have it digitally so we can see them on the screen?
I'm not logged into the Zoom, but I can log into the Zoom.
Yeah, do that because that'll be helpful to us because we're having a hybrid system now.
No worries. If you
Okay.
just give me a minute.
Sure. Let's do this. Let's go off the record for about 3 minutes, allow you to do that. It's 1:44. We'll come back at 1:47. Record, Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, let's resume. Mr. Mincy?
Thank you. Mr. Manning, can you just describe your
Oh,
responsibility?
we had some things you wanted to put up.
Well, before I get to that, I just
Okay.
wanted to just
Okay.
sharpen the testimony. Mr. Manning, can you just describe your role and responsibility for the board as far as the director of nightlife?
Yeah, as the senior director for the nighttime economy within the Department of Commerce, I am charged with overseeing all of the city's kind of policies, support, advocacy programs for all businesses, residents, employees that operate primarily after 5 p.m. till 9 a.m. That includes everything from supporting new businesses coming to the city, assisting businesses that may have issues with other departments or, connectivity issues. Businesses after 5 often have trouble connecting with like city departments that close at 5. And so I bridge the gap there. Another part of my job is neighbor complaints or disputes for RCOs, making sure that quality of life is a big part of, making sure that, neighbors can have quality of life, but also making sure businesses.
Okay,
can operate.
Miss. Yeah, please.
I talk really fast. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we asked you to practice a little bit because you're gonna give better testimony if you do that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Pardon. So to summarize most of what I said, all of the city's operations after 5, I serve as a liaison to ensure that they can continue to operate. And that's from residents who want to sleep and get quality of life to businesses who need to operate to third shift workforce. I advise our administration and council on laws that update to make our nighttime economy more vibrant, or again, more safe and through programs and a liaison through all city departments, whether it's PPD, L&I, health, you name it. I liaise again on behalf of the nighttime economy, bridging the gap that often happens when it comes to governing because our city's kind of set up to govern from 9 to 5. And then we hope those things work from 5 to 9, but sometimes it needs a little bit more finessing, and that's where my unit and team comes in.
Okay, and Mr. Mincy, I'd ask if you'd be very specific in your questions so that we can reduce the potential narrative. Okay. Yes or no questions would be helpful.
Okay. They're not always possible.
Understood.
How are you familiar with Mirage Lounge?
I'm originally familiar with Mirage Lounge after taking my role in July of 2022, and then joining the South Street Nightlife Task Force calls that happen quarterly. And Mirage was brought up on that call, and then subsequently, the owner of Mirage reached out to me when he was asked to attend a meeting with PPD and the South Street Head House District.
I'm confused about something. That 2022 date, was that you were employed by the city or was that a different job?
By the city.
So you've been employed by the city since what date? When did you first become involved with the city in this role?
July 11th of 2022.
Okay, July 11th to 22? Okay. All right, thank you.
What was the substance of that meeting, that initial meeting that you had with Mirage, PPD, and the neighborhood associations back then?
So I came into the meeting just because the business owner reached out. The meeting was about preparing for the summer surge that happens on South Street. And PPD, there was the RCOs that were there, as well as Eleanor, who's the bid executive director. And it was basically about what they were trying to prevent, I guess, for what was going on for Mirage. So they talked about, crowd control. They talked about the people or the type of people that, go into Mirage. And from that meeting, I originally just learned that there were concerns about Mirage, the type of people that came to Mirage and how it was operating from PPD, the RCOs, and the South Street bid there.
And what was the result of that? What was the result of that meeting, that initial meeting that you were called to by Mirage.
Okay, before he responds, what was the date and time of that meeting? Because I don't know which meeting you're referring to.
Can you give me an approximation of the date of that initial meeting where you were called in by the owner Mirage to meet with South Street District folks?
My memory's not the best, but I think the meeting would have been May or June of 2023, before the summer was starting, because the conversation was shaped around preparing for the
Okay.
summer.
And this included the police, the business district, and the RCO.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And was your participation in that meeting something that is different than how you would treat other businesses that work in that South Street corridor?
No, any business that asks for support from our office, we provide.
Now I'm directing your attention to Exhibit D. You have it in your hands. If we could put it on the screen. It's about a 17-page packet of emails, so it's a long email thread. Have you seen this email thread before, Mr. Manning?
I have.
Okay, before you proceed, we need to have it up so we
Can
can
you
follow
give me
along.
a page number? Okay.
This is page 80.
Okay. And
Oh.
Mr. Manning, can you describe to me describe for the panel what the substance of the email, the initial email that started this chain of emails was in regards to?
This was an email that was sent to myself from Shalim, owner of Mirage, along with, CC Eleanor was on it. Some of the PPD officers, Lieutenant Ricci, and others were then subsequently added about their concern on how they were being
Can we
treated.
just pause? Can we get this up on the screen before we start going into the details of what it is? Not to rush you, Gabby.
Yeah. Are we looking for the initial email from, okay, keep scrolling, yep.
Page 93 at the bottom. This email was, I think, June 20th, 2024.
At 9:44, is that the,
It'd be page 14 of 17 in that email thread.
this one? Is this large enough for everybody to see?
Well, not on the, just make it a tad larger on this, on our computer screens to be helpful. If not, yeah, that's
A little too big.
just,
Good?
yeah, that's good, right there. Okay, all right, so let's continue.
We restart from since we now have the exhibit, can you restart the questioning about it?
Can you tell me what the substance of the initial email that brought all of this to the forefront? Explain that for the panel, please.
I would object. Mr. Pervez's email, he is here, it's here, so he can testify to what the substance of the email was.
Okay, so noted. I'm going to overrule that. I want to, it's been introduced. We can all, you plan to have additional witnesses?
This is going to testify.
Okay, all right.
The email was addressed to Eleanor Ingersoll, the director of the South Street.
Is that noted in the email? Can we see the heading?
It's right above, you scroll up, yep. And I was CC'd on it as well as a couple other. city departments.
Okay, scroll up some more because I can't see it. Yeah. And this is from,
Shalim.
Vez, and he's addressing it to. Okay, all right, thank you. And Eleanor is Eleanor.
Eleanor Ingersoll, who's the director for the South Street bid.
Okay, all right.
The email expressed concerns about the business feeling it was being targeted because of the type of people it serves, which is primarily Black and brown people. It talked about several different.
And that's what's in the text, in the content,
The email.
the body of this email.
That's correct.
Okay, and that was the owner's concern.
Correct.
Okay.
And based on receiving that email as a carbon copy, what, if any, action did you take?
So I responded and added some relevant departments to the email, leadership within Commerce Department, as well as our Human Relations Department. Anytime we have a business or resident that talks about racial impropriety or targeting, Human Relations is usually the resource that we utilize. And the subsequent chain of email thread ended up in me organizing a meeting at the Department of Commerce with the bid, with the RCO, the South Street Nightlife Task Force Organization, PPD, the Mayor's Office for Minority Business Success. Of course, Human Relations kind of ran the meeting in that aspect, as well as Council Member Mark Squilla. His office was in attendance.
And do you recall when that meeting took place?
I don't recall the exact date, but it is in this email because this email thread establishes when everyone would meet. So if we want to scroll, it'll say a date in there, but it was within a week or two of this email,
Okay.
sometime in July.
Okay.
Did you also attend this meeting?
Yes.
Were you able to make any observations regarding the complaints being made by the neighborhood associations?
Yes, we were able to make quite a few observations and kind of revelations. I think first, the email was directed towards the bid as the primary entity making complaints. What came out in the meeting was that the bid, led by Eleanor, had launched no complaints against the business, but it was the South Street Nightlife Task Force, which is made up of the RCOs. There's 3 abutting RCOs. That's Bella Vista, Society Hill, and I'm missing another one. But that's what it made up, and that Nightlife Task Force had launched complaints against the business. Many of the complaints were launched to PPD and then also to the state. The Nightlife Task Force presented like these complaints and to everyone at this meeting. And what we realized, one, from the complaints that were launched to the state had issued some violations to the business. However, none of the violations issued were for any of the complaints. An example is that one of the complaints was about, I don't know, let's say loud music or something. The state went in, did not find what that complaint was, but a sign wasn't appropriate. And so that was pushed back against by people in the meeting. Additionally, PPD did report out on what they thought the activities were around the business that was concerning. And again, there was some pushback against how PPD presented. One of the examples, the Lieutenant Ricci shared a story about him patrolling, or officer patrolling, seeing drugs and drug paraphernalia in a vehicle.
I would object this as hearsay.
Yeah, let's, again, if we could narrow the response, okay? And also, I'm going to sustain the objection, okay? So if we move on to the next question.
Chair Woodson, the city was allowed to kind of present like unencumbered for 2 hours in February.
Yes, but
And
as we began with,
the case for
okay,
like
but
6 minutes.
I'm going to hold you to what I said earlier, because we are here to determine whether or not the city acted appropriately in denying the license. And so the issue is, unless there's some very specific facts that he's going to bring regarding the license renewal process, all the other stuff is just noise, which isn't relevant to us.
And I guess, again, all of these things go towards what the city stated was their reason for not renewing the license.
Understood. That was
Suitability concerns.
the suitability is understood. Yeah.
What Mr. Manning was just talking about were kind of the genesis of these suitability concerns and what he observed to be what he observed in those meetings as they were talking about those suitability concerns.
Okay, I didn't hear that specifically in terms of suitability. What I heard
Well, he
was,
talking about.
At this point, Mr. Mincy is testifying.
Actually, no.
wait.
He was talking about allegations of drug use and crimes being committed outside of Mirage, which is one of the stated things
Right.
we talk about in suitability when it comes to renewing a special assembly license.
Okay, but that isn't necessarily a, how would I say this? If it's a fact, it's a fact. If the police saw it, if the police wrote violations or things, if the police took action because of that, that's a part of the record, correct?
I think Mr. Manning is talking about like what Lieutenant Ricci was saying, and then we didn't let him finish giving his answer.
Okay, because there was an objection. So,
Yes.
so what I'm asking you to do, and the objection that was made, I'm going to sustain that objection because I want you to, if you can, if you hone in your questioning, so in fact, Mr. Manning can respond to specific questions.
Based on what you observed during those meetings with the neighborhood associations and PPD, were you able to form an opinion as to whether or not Mr. Pervez's complaints were valid or not?
Yes, I was able to form an opinion. I think others at the meeting were in agreement with this opinion that a lot of the activities that were seen as suitability to keep it aligned, that were tied to Mirage, were not directly tied to Mirage. They were adjacent to, up or down or around. And in that meeting, we did push back against PPD in the way they were reporting some of the things that they saw as concerns.
And in your role as kind of like the director of nightlife and engagement, were those types of complaints that you heard of in that meeting, were they unique to Mirage? Or have you heard similar complaints about other businesses in the South Street corridor?
I will say that the method and manner in which the complaints were launched were pretty unique to Mirage, but in my job and being in this role, that they were not unique to Black serving businesses on South Street. So I have heard them before in a manner against other minority serving or owned businesses.
What was the ultimate result of that meeting that was convened between all of these community members?
Okay, I know what that's. The ultimate result is that, one, we established that it was not the South Street Head House District that was, lobbying these complaints against Mirage, which is important because the bid is there to help businesses. We wanted to facilitate a relationship between Mirage and the South Street Head House District. I think the other part of it is we brought the mayor's office in because there were some concerns on how the conduct of not only the PPD, but the RCOs on South Street were acting, and to the point of it seemed as if they were weaponizing city services against a business unfoundedly. Again, that's just what we observed. And so we did refer this up to the mayor's office, whose mayor's office of community engagement. At the time, the director was Hassan Freeman, did get involved and went out and visited the business and made their own assessment.
In your role, have you observed any disparities in the way enforcement agencies and neighborhood associations have engaged with minority-owned businesses on the South Street corridor compared to non-minority-owned businesses?
Yes, and it's disheartening, but yes, absolutely. There has been multiple, in my role, multiple complaints brought to me or to other departments about how the operations or businesses are treated on South Street that are minority-owned or minority-serving. And again, this is just one that has just drawn out for a while, but there are multiple that I have come across in my role and that I actively utilize the Department of Commerce. We go out, we try to support, we try to help, mitigate any impact that is unjust and biased.
In your opinion, is Mirage Lounge one of those businesses that have been negatively affected by what we were just talking about?
Yes, in my opinion, absolutely. I think Mirage has been, and I don't want to use the word targeted, but I think because of where they are, a lot of the things that happen generally on South Street has been attributed to the business. And one thing we do in the Department of Commerce, we try to make sure businesses can operate and that we're supporting those businesses and that we're realistic in what the expectations of those businesses are. So, one of the things I know we talked to PPD about is attributing things that happen 2, 3, or 4 blocks away from Mirage to Mirage itself, because we should not have an expectation that the business is 2, 3, and 4 blocks away from its door managing people's behavior. And so that in itself, I think, has been unfair in my interaction in supporting, and I have made this clear to PPD as well as to all other relevant departments.
In your professional judgment, does the denial of a special assembly and occupancy license to Mirage Lounge serve the city's stated interests of supporting its nighttime economy?
I would object to that. It's asking the ultimate question of this case of whether to grant the license or not. I don't think Mr. Manning's in a position to answer that question.
I think Mr. Manning is actually uniquely qualified to talk about whether or not this meets the city's purpose of promoting and protecting nighttime economy. Whether or not the license ultimately is granted or denied, but he can certainly talk about how it
Let's do
affects
it.
the
Okay,
city's purpose.
I'll overrule the objection.
Just to be clear, you're asking me whether or not I think it serves the city's interests for our nighttime economy to deny Mirage its license?
Does the denial of a special assembly occupancy license to Mirage Lounge serve the city's stated interests in supporting its nighttime economy?
It does not. And one thing we have to understand with nighttime economy businesses is that they're uniquely overly regulated in a way because of the environment they're in. There's alcohol, there's people trying to sleep, and that's something. And you can go to almost any nighttime businesses in the city, and they're going to have some concerns because most of them are going to be their operations inherently kind of disturb some people when they're sleeping. And we have a city that's butted up against residential. So I do not say Mirage is a perfect business, but I also say that if you go into the kitchen 100 times, you'll catch you catch somebody with their hand in the fridge. And so I don't think it's fair, and I don't think it serves the city's nighttime economy strategy in supporting businesses and ensuring that businesses are able to operate in that aspect.
Before you move on, does it matter, in your opinion, whether or not a business, Mirage, any other business, is in compliance with the appropriate licenses and permits, et cetera?
Absolutely.
Okay, and if a business doesn't have those things, what should the city's position be?
I think the city's position is to make sure that all businesses are compliant, have the tools to be compliant, and are fairly able to be compliant.
I don't understand what fairly able to be compliant means.
That when it comes to licenses, a lot of them, especially ones that is of alcohol or alcoholic service or special occupancy assembly license, there's a lot of opinion in the process. PPD weighs in on an opinion that they put together, and they can make a denial based on that or neighborhood feedback. And I think it is our duty as the city to ensure that if that feedback from the neighborhood is going to deny a business an opportunity to operate in the such matter it wants, that it has to be fair and unbiased.
But you didn't answer my question. I said specifically in terms of compliance with codes as well as licenses, et cetera, like a special assembly license or a food license or a liquor license and that sort of thing.
And I said, yes, all businesses need to be in compliance, and the city should support all businesses being in compliance. And if they're out, making sure that they have a path to compliancy. I think what I was, and I'm sorry if I misunderstood, is that the thing about some of our licenses, especially ones that affect nighttime businesses, there is an opinion matter.
But that's not their compliance role. That's the opinion of the enforcing authority. I'm talking about the role of the owner, business owner, the actions it takes.
Again, I'm sorry for the disconnect here. Yes, businesses should be in compliance, but if we're talking specifically about a special occupancy and assembly license, there are matters in which a business can apply, and the PPD gets an opportunity to weigh in whether or not they want to approve. They take into account the residents around that business on whether they weigh in.
Right.
And in my role, and I have seen, and again, it's not something I expected to see that much in the city, there are biases on what type of businesses that are able to renew based on having, violations as well. We violate a lot of businesses, but in some are not. And I think all businesses need to be in compliance. That's what our office stands on. That's what we support.
All right, thank you. Let's move on.
In your dealing with Mirage Lounge, have you had an opportunity to observe their willingness to be compliant with the laws and regulations of Philadelphia and Philadelphia nightlife?
Yes, since I've been in this role, the business has been very responsive, very participatory in all city programs, or if I've ever reached out or if we needed anything, the business owner comes to trainings and seminars that we have. That's kind of how I got involved with them, or in a way. And there are some businesses that are operating in our city that should be shut down, absolutely without a doubt. And I support them when they are not, being good neighbors or just good partners or businesses in the city. But I do not, in my opinion, think Mirage is one of those businesses because of its, it's reached out, it's shared that it's had some concerns. It's talked to city council members and other people that have been on meetings with me with the business. And it's never been a situation where there's been concerns from the neighbors or anyone brought up, do not, right, and whatever, that the business wasn't responsive to. And I think that's a matter of someone who wants to participate in, our nighttime economy in a good way that supports to it.
There was prior testimony on another date about allegations that Mirage was operating with a DJ after their special assembly and occupancy license was denied. This was back in July of 2025, July 31st of 2025. Do you have any insight on that encounter that you can share with the board here today?
Yes, we're talking specifically that the business had informed our office that their special occupancy and assembly license had got denied. They reached out for like what the next steps were. I reached out to L&I and was informed by L&I that, hey, if the business applied or appealed the decision, that they are able to operate under their existing SAOL until their appeal is heard. I informed the business that via email, CC'd all appropriate people on it, that and Shalim on it. Later that night, the business had a DJ and was cited with a CVN. The business reached out while the PPD officer was there and then shared the CVN that they received. PPD said they did not have a SAOL. I then responded and brought L&I and other departments in to say, hey, we advised the business that he could have a DJ, but what the ultimate kind of outcome of that was is that the business's SAOLs wasn't denied for appeal, that PPD said it lapsed, or L&I, whomever, said it lapsed, and they had applied for a new one. So therefore, the right to operate under the previous one does not apply. And so I got all of the appropriate departments on, PPD, as well as L&I, put an email chain together and say, hey, the business was informed by our office after consulting L&I and all under these conditions, and was told that they would be okay having a DJ. Although what we found out was, that their SAOL lapsed versus, being denied. And so I did put that there. We did ask from my department with my leadership that CVN be considered possibly thrown out because they were misadvised, but it wasn't, and that's kind of not up to us, but we did ask.
Okay, well, before you move on, so in fact, the police were accurate and correct in that instance?
Yes.
Okay. And which CVN is that? I just want to be, I think I have, what date was that? July 31st.
July 31st, 2025.
Okay, okay.
And based on your understanding of the facts surrounding that CVN, are you able to form an opinion as to whether or not Mirage willfully violated any Philadelphia code on July 31st of 2025?
I don't think it was a willful violation, although the facts is what it is, but they did reach out and ask for guidance. They were given guidance based on what we were told. And then once the facts came out, that guidance did not apply.
Wait. But they didn't have the license at the time of the violation occurring, correct? And they knew they didn't have a license.
Right. So they were told they were denied a license.
No. At the time of the incident on July 31st, they operated.
Correct.
And they operated knowing they did not have a license.
Yes, because under L&I's guidance.
This is before they talked to you. This is before they talked to you.
No. So before operating with the DJ, after knowing that they did not have a license, they reached out to our department to ask what's their next steps to get their license. And I reached out to L&I to get guidance. The guidance was, if your SAOL is denied, the renewal, you apply for an appeal. Once you file that appeal, you are then able to operate under your existing SAOL until adjudication happens.
Okay.
Right? And so we informed the business, because they did reach out before, that, hey, if you have filed your appeal proper, we did not confirm appeal filing, that's not our job, then you can operate. The business said it filed its appeal, and then later that night, had a DJ under the impression that they were fine based on the advice that we gave them.
Okay, but the underlying facts were not accurate. That's what we-
Correct, yes.
Okay.
In your experience with Mirage, have they been willful violators of Philadelphia code?
Not in my experience.
But you just stated the underlying facts of that July 31st incident.
You-
Okay,
Is
never
that a
mind, never mind.
question?
Go ahead,
Is
go
that a
ahead,
question
go
or
ahead.
argument?
Go ahead. I withdraw that statement, please.
Okay.
All right.
I don't have any other questions for Mr. Manning.
Okay, any cross-examination?
Yes. Good afternoon, Director Manning. Thank you so much for your time today. I know this has been a sacrifice of your time. You have better things to be doing, but I appreciate you coming.
No problem.
Very, very briefly, and I usually say that I'm lying today, I'm serious. Are you a police officer with the Philadelphia Police Department?
No,
Are you a code official with the Department of Licenses and Inspections?
no,
Do you or members of the Commerce Department write code violation notices, or do you write notices of violation?
no,
Do you otherwise take enforcement action against businesses or properties in the city of Philadelphia?
no,
Finally, were you consulted by the Department of Licenses and Inspections regarding the Special Assembly occupancy license renewal that the department denied on July 28th, 2025, while we're here?
consulted, no, made aware, yes, because again, whenever we are denied.
That's okay. I just asked whether you were, he
But-
answered the question
but-
and continued.
Wait. Well, because it's a yes or no answer. It is in our opinions.
Says, were you consulted? He said no.
Okay, he can follow up, but what I'm asking, and I'm asking him, is to be very specific, yes or no, okay, when there's a yes or no answer. You can recall him if you want at some point. Yeah, okay.
Just
Please
because the
continue.
question was, were you consulted? He said, was I consulted? No. And that actually was my last question. So I'm going to ask
Okay.
again, just to be clear. Director Manning, were you consulted by the department regarding the Special Assembly occupancy license that was denied on July 28th, 2025?
No,
No further questions.
Thank you. You want to redirect? Sure, please.
That question, Director Manning, was there further context that you wanted to add to that last answer that you just gave to the city's question?
yes, just in my role, because I do represent the nighttime economy and nighttime businesses, if there are any actions that the city's intending to take, or if there's any issues with any businesses, or businesses are going to be declared nuisance business, LNI, PPD, and other city departments that are the enforcement agents do make me aware of those impending actions, and also allow for remediation before those actions are taken at the consultancy of my office in that part, yes.
And when you say remediation, can you explain what you mean by that?
Yes.
Jack, this is beyond the cross-examination, the scope of the cross-examination.
I want to allow it this time, but I agree with it, but go ahead and answer the question.
Yeah, just keeping it short before we cite, close, or take action to get any nighttime businesses, and this is not completely, because there are about 3,000 of them. My office is often consulted to come in to help bring the business into compliance and that's what PPD, that's what LNI or health or anyone else, because of just the nature of when these other departments operate. Sometimes they're not able to speak and meet with the business besides the fine or the issue. So LNI, health, PPD, and other enforcement agencies do reach out to my office before taking action sometimes.
And did they do that here with Mirage?
I think I was aware of the whole process but not particularly before the SAOL was denied.
Anything else? Okay. Any additional questions from the panel? Okay. Any additional witnesses? Yeah. Okay.
Call Shalene Pervez.
Okay. No, you can have a seat.
Are we able to excuse the witness? I don't believe.
Well, we may have to call him back.
Okay.
So that's why I didn't want anyone to leave. And
I don't want to, No, I do not want him to be sequestered for any reason.
Okay, just that the important witnesses, fact witnesses, we want to remain in case there's a need to bring them back for something. And we
Understood.
don't want to continue this hearing any longer than we have to.
I agree with you, Chairman.
Okay, please proceed.
Thank you. Can you state your name for the record, please?
Shalim Pervez,
Yes, spell your last name, sir.
Perbez.
Berbez.
P for Paul, E for Edward, R for Robert, V for Victor, Pervez. Yes.
Pervez. Okay. Yes. Raise your right hand to be sworn, sir. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth to help you God? All right, thank you.
Mr. Pervez, what is your connection to Mirage Lounge?
The owner of Mirage Lounge.
Where is Mirage?
Yeah, you'll have to move as close as you can to that microphone. Thank you.
And where is Mirage located?
119 South Street, Philadelphia, PA 19147.
And can you describe the nature of the business for us?
Sure. So Mirage is a lounge where we serve Mediterranean fusion food. We have hookah, we have drinks, and bottle service as well, where we specialize in celebrating birthdays.
When did you open Mirage Lounge?
Mirage was open in the end of 2018.
As of today, is Mirage currently operating?
That is correct, yes.
And what is the status of your special assembly occupancy license?
Revoked.
And you've appealed that, correct?
That is right.
Just before, is it revoked or not? Is the renewal denied? I'm asking the city.
I believe this was covered by Supervisor Lee. It expired end of May 2025. Thank you. Good memory. It expired. There was not a renewal application at that time, so it had lapsed. And then the decision to decline the renewal came on July 28th of 2025.
Okay, so it wasn't revoked.
It was not revoked.
Okay. That's what I just want to clarify. It was not revoked. Okay.
We're here because you're appealing the denial of your renewal. Is that correct?
That is right, yes.
When it comes to being cooperative with the police and neighborhood organizations on South Street during your time operating Mirage Lounge, how would you describe yourself?
Yeah, we have been very cooperative. We have actually reached out to them multiple times, not only concerns about that we feel, but also just about South Street, because South Street is a very busy corridor, and Mirage being on South Street, especially being on the last block of South Street, faces a lot of issues which don't pertain to Mirage at all. So we have always been in contact with the neighborhood associations, also with the police department as well.
I'm going to ask that we put Exhibit E on the screen. It's going to be page 98 of that PDF.
Are you referring to these emails? Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah.
And again, we'd ask if you'd enlarge them, please. Just a tad more. Yes, just a bit more. Thank you. That's good, right there. Yep.
May I proceed?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Mr. Pervez, do you recognize these chains of emails?
Yes.
And can you describe for us what this correspondence is about? I'll take a minute to look through it.
Yes, please. Once.
Okay, just,
Okay, I think I'm aware of this. Okay, got it. So, yeah, so this would be a great example.
okay, now you gotta be very specific in terms of what you're referencing so we can see it as well. So tell us what it is that you're referring to.
Sure. So this is in reference to we had an incident on 4th of July weekend.
Okay, you don't understand what I'm asking. If you have the document you have in your hand, it's also what's on the screen. If you're going to now tell us about something in that document, tell us where you're reading from so we can go to it and see it ourselves.
Okay, got it. So this would be, I would suggest page 3.
Page 3? Okay, just a moment.
Yes. Correct.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. What is the question regarding that? Mr. Mentor, what's the question?
Can you describe for us what this correspondence is about?
Okay.
So this is basically a correspondence to Michael Harris, who is the president of Head House District Business Association. And this is basically in regards to this unwanted neighborhood complaints, which were associated with the business. Now this in specific instance, because we are actually on South Street, we would sometimes get people who would want to come to the business. And as our protocol, obviously, once we reach a certain capacity, we would shut the business for anybody else. And because, especially in summertime, people just walk on South Street generally anyway, and they just want to bounce from business to business or bars to bars, and they would want to come into our venue as well. And because we have a certain protocol, so if security denies it, this is in reference to a complaint by a neighborhood association stating that we had crowd outside when our patrons were making noise outside, which they were not, because one, they were not our patrons, and two, we had denied them from entry because we had reached our own capacity. So this specific email is in reference to that.
Okay. Anything in that email that we should see or you would point us to?
Yes, so this would be so here we go. So
on the same page, or
yeah,
what page are we?
Yeah, so going for this is like, again, staying on page 3 to 8. Yes. Oh, perfect. Okay. So referencing this specifically to 4th of July, as I said, we had shut our business down because we had reached our capacity. And as a matter of fact, we had probably shut our doors probably at 12 o'clock. And there were some people who wanted to come in, but our security denied them the entrance. And just, I guess they were not happy about it. So they probably just made a phone call to PPD saying 2 men just walked in with a gun. And police officers came on site. We explained them. They understood it. For whatever reason, Lieutenant Still went above and beyond and said, okay, this seems dangerous. We have to shut the place.
Objection, hearsay.
I'm sorry?
Okay.
Said specifically what the lieutenant said.
I think when I made similar objections back in February, I was informed
Okay.
that these types of hearings, some hearsay is allowed.
Yes, and we will do that. We will overrule that objection. Please proceed.
Sure. So Lieutenant basically came in. They made sure that nothing is wrong at all. No such event happened. There was nobody who walked in the venue with a gun because we have a protocol that no one can walk in with any firearms or anything of that nature at all. So it was basically just a false complaint. And the PPD did confirm that. They were sure of that. But they still ended up asking us to shut the business down that night. So which we just simply complied because we can't argue with them about it. And that's basically what this email is referencing to.
As a result of this email, was there ever a willingness on your part to participate in a good neighbor agreement meeting to address some of the community concerns?
Yes, we did have a few meetings. As a matter of fact, we had a meeting with the PPD and with Neighborhood Association. We also engaged the City of Philadelphia and Raheem Manning, the Director of Nightlife Economy, to help us in this matter. Because every meeting that we would have with the Neighborhood Association, they would just pinpoint everything at us, stating that that you guys are that there's a nuisance activity, or let's say there's a crowd outside, but none of those things were connected to us. As a matter of fact, we hired a special security team as well, which the lieutenant at that time really liked, and they were working together. Because the PPD was short-staffed, so after 10 o'clock on the streets, your cars are not allowed to be parked, but people will just come and park anyway, and just because they're short-staffed, they would not be able to come and remove them. So our security team came up with a plan with the PPD that we would help them and just put cones on the street on the last block to help them so nobody can just park cars, because it's not allowed to park anyway after 10 o'clock. So there's nobody parking illegally, there's no noise issues. So just to help the Neighborhood Association, also to help the PPD as well.
And this is something that you started back in 2023?
Correct, yes.
And are these the same cones that we just heard the lieutenant who was here testifying earlier? Are those the same cones that she was talking about when she came on to the South Street beat in May of 2025?
Correct, yes. That's exactly what she was talking about. This was just a prior agreement. This is something we were just trying to help the neighborhood and the PPD. It doesn't serve us with any interest.
Take this from you. Then can we put Exhibit G on the screen, specifically page 112 of the PDF? May I proceed, Chair?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Mr. Pervez, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
What is it? Need a bigger desk.
This is an email sent to the captain in regards to the behavior of lieutenant, and because lieutenant
which lieutenant are you referencing?
Lieutenant Ritchie, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is so this is in regards to Lieutenant Ritchie asking us to shut the business down for, in our opinion, no valid reason, and also falsifying a CVN as well.
When you say falsifying CVN, can you give us more specifics about that, please?
Well, falsifying in regards to saying that there was a large crowd, an unruly crowd outside of Mirage, and it was Mirage patrons, when Lieutenant knew about it extremely well when he was on site, that those were not our patrons. They were just regular people on South Street.
Which CVN are you referencing?
I'm not sure if this is here right now, but that's it.
Yeah.
The date of the email is July 7th, 2023.
Okay, and
this was, as Mr. Pervez testified, he was talking about the incident of July 4th, 2023.
so which CVN is he referencing?
It is not listed in this email, but he's talking about a CVN that was issued related to the incident. It may not be before this board, but I think this is really just talking about their relationship with the South Street district.
Yeah, I just want to get a handle on how the facts are lining up. So he's referencing in his email actions taken by Lieutenant Ritchie that resulted in a CVN on July 3rd or 4th or something. And your argument is that the facts that the lieutenant used were either inaccurate or a misstatement.
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And in the words in your email, Mr. Pervez actually said that the lieutenant deliberately admitted that the initial call was a false report. Can you give more insight to the board about that?
Yeah, so Lieutenant actually, well, it states on CVN as well that it was The call was for someone stating there were two people walked in with a gun, but they didn't find anything. But they still cited us for a large crowd outside, which one was 15 people probably outside. That two were not our patrons. They were just regular people on South Street. Lieutenant knew about this fact extremely well because when the call was made, he was on site. And we had a good 5 to 10 minute discussion. He also confirmed that with our security teams. And he was very well aware of the entire fact. But he still fabricated it to make it seem like it was just our patrons or we were not doing enough to do anything in terms of removing those people. And those people were not even on our property to begin with.
And at the bottom of this email on page 113, it says, I also copied Raheem Manning, Philadelphia Nightlife Director, and Councilman Mark Squilla. Is that how Mr. Manning became involved in this matter?
Yes, correct. So we had reached out. This is actually one of our very first attempts to go through proper channels to address our concerns about certain behaviors of South Street Neighborhood Association and the PPD. And as you can see, we have actually gone through proper channels from captain to the city officials as well, including the councilman.
Now, Mr. Pervez, I want to direct your attention to the email that was the subject of Exhibit D that Mr. Manning was talking about, the email that was sent to Eleanor Ingersoll on June 20th, 2024. Can you tell us what prompted that email that you sent?
Yes. So after complaining about Lieutenant Ricci to the captain.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Could you give us a page number for that, please?
93.
So after complaining or reaching out to the captain and the councilman and the Department of Commerce and Raheem Manning about the lieutenant, we saw a surge in the change of behavior and how lieutenant was operating, specifically how they were engaging with us. Not only that, it actually they specifically reached out to different departments, and we had some random inspections very late at night, and we specifically asked those inspectors, why are we getting inspected at this time? Because this has never happened before. And they specifically said PPD asked us to come and inspect you guys, and not just you. There's 3-4 other businesses as well.
I object to that as hearsay.
So noted.
I actually went on to actually go and meet those businesses and try to understand why are they getting targeted about this too. And having understood what was going on, and Lieutenant was specifically targeting specific businesses and collaborating with a certain South Street Neighborhood Association, I reached out to Raheem Manning and Department of Commerce to look into the matter because they were targeting specific businesses, and these were specifically, for the most part, Black-owned businesses.
Ultimately, there was a meeting between you, the neighborhood associations, and PPD, and Mr. Manning and some city and state officials. Is that correct?
That is right, yes.
And what, if anything, was the result of that meeting?
So PPD did bring their concerns, and to my recollection, the departments and Department of Commerce and everybody involved in the meeting, they did reach the conclusion that majority of the things that PPD was mentioning had nothing to do with Mirage. That was more so of a South Street issue, and they were somehow finding a way to tie it to the business.
I want to direct your attention to Exhibit F.
Microphone, Mr. Mincy.
Sorry, Exhibit F. That'll be page 108 of the PDF. Mr. Pervez, take a look at that and then let me know when you're ready to answer some questions about it. Who is this email from and who is it to?
Sure. This email is from Lieutenant Stephen Ritchie, and it is sent to me.
What's the date of that email?
May 7th, 2024.
Okay, would you mind displaying the heading so we can see it? If that's possible? No, displaying it. Yep. It includes the to and from?
I think
That's
what
it?
you're looking
Okay.
at is maybe Mr. Pervez's response. It's scrolled down a little bit. There we go. There.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, thank you. This is May 7th, 24, okay.
Got it.
So it's titled Garage Issues and
I'm sorry,
it's entitled Mirage Issues. And what is this in relation to?
So this is in relationship to Lieutenant Ritchie reaching out to Mirage and specifically asking in regards to a plan for summertime, because again, in South Street things get heated up, specifically because of noise and the crowds, and Mirage being on the last block of South Street, everything just draws to that.
And you responded to Lieutenant Ritchie's email. That is on page further up on page 108 of the PDF. It starts with on Cinco de Mayo. Or let me say, it says, actually scroll to 107, the bottom of 107, and then it continues on to 108. It says, Dear Lieutenant, and you said, I have confirmed with our security team that there were no incidents of fighting. And then you asked the lieutenant for precise dates and times about these fights he was complaining about. Did he ever provide those?
He never provided those. This has actually happened multiple times. This is not the first time that I have asked for any specifics from the South Street Neighborhood Association and the lieutenant as well. Sometimes they would just randomly send us an email saying there was a noise complaint, and we would ask them, okay, what exactly was it? And they would just never respond to that.
And when you receive these types of complaints from Lieutenant Ritchie, what kind of investigation would you conduct before responding to him?
Sure. So one, our security team would work very well with the PPD anyway, and Ian, who was security head, and Lieutenant Ritchie, they had a good relationship as well. So our first response would be to reach out to Ian, who's the security head, to ask if we have any incident reports, if something happened within the premises or even outside the premises, whether it was connected to us or not. But we just have a protocol just to make an incident report based on what we have been dealing with on South Street. So in this specific incident, our protocol would be to reach out to Ian, and if they give us any feedback, we will reach out back to PPD or to Neighborhood Association. In this specific incident, there was nothing.
Okay.
Does Mirage Lounge have a policy for whether or not its security officers are to cooperate with Philadelphia police?
Absolutely. I mean, it's in our own best interest to do it. Plus, I don't think we have a choice anyway. And we have no reason not to cooperate with them.
In this email, you talk about crowd crowd management measures that you had implemented or planned for. Can you describe what those were?
Yes. So as every summer, as things as the weather is better, and as I mentioned, because Mirage is on the last block of South Street, so people would simply, as all the other bars and restaurants would close, people would, because there's also a parking lot at the end of this block right next to South Street Bridge, so people just simply just walk in that block or in the neighborhood. So we always have this issue that we have to deal with it, though it's not our issue, which is when people just linger around, after 2 o'clock. But we have our own security protocol where we would tell our patrons, or our security will simply, especially go out, make sure all the patrons have left the venue. If someone is playing any music, ask them to turn it down, just to help the neighborhood as well. But this is in specifics to what happens on that neighborhood and our own suggestions as well to the PPD, what we can help with. We have not only that, we have also offered PPD multiple times to pay for police detail ourselves because of them being short-staffed to help us and also that last block of South Street as well, which they, I think, denied as well.
This email is showing, obviously, communications between you and Lieutenant Ricci and Philadelphia Police. Is this indicative of the type of communication you would attempt to have with Philadelphia Police regarding any issues with Mirage on South Street?
Yes. And yeah, we would go above and beyond to have a communication with them. Any suggestions that they would have, we would enforce them right away. And as I said, our security team would be on constant communication with Stephen Ricci as well. Any issues they would have, they would fix it right away.
We heard testimony from Mr. Manning about the July 31st, 2025 CVN regarding operating with the DJ after the renewal was denied of the special assembly and occupancy license. Can you provide the board with your perspective on that incident and how that came to happen?
Absolutely. So our special assembly license was denied, and we had reached out to Director Rahim's office to ask for clarity. What actions could we take, and in trying to get our special assembly license back? So we were advised that if we file an appeal, and if we are during the appeal period, we can operate with a special assembly license. So we filed the appeal the same date of this incident in the morning. So we have the appeal letter. It actually might be attached as well. So we filed the appeal that day. That was also the date that we actually brought in DJ. So according, in our perspective, we were following the law. We were in compliance, and we got in. We had an inspection, which was Lieutenant Rogers, who had came in. So it was two things that she saw. She cited us for not having a special assembly license and having a DJ. We did explain to her that we had a communication with Director Rahim and LNI, and based on that, we were operating it. Just to confirm again, I got her email and put her in a group email thread with Director Rahim to clarify that as well, which later Director Rahim did clarify and did mention to us that because of the nature of what was going on, we just couldn't do it. We couldn't have the DJs in the meantime. But also, I did want to clarify. Lieutenant Rogers also mentioned that we didn't have a liquor license and we didn't have other licenses. That's not true. We had all other licenses. The only license which we did not have was special assembly license, because this incident probably, I think, happened in this incident must have been in July, I believe. And liquor licenses get renewed in October of every year. So we had an active liquor license. We haven't had an active food license. We had active smoke license. So we have all of our licenses were active. The only license we did not have was special assembly license.
Those active licenses were displayed at the location?
So the food license we had renewed 2 weeks before. It usually takes about 2 to 3 weeks for it to arrive in the mail. So we didn't have it, but we did let her know that we have already renewed it. We're just waiting for it to arrive.
So answer my question, were the other licenses all displayed as required?
That is correct. All the licenses were displayed, correct.
Okay.
From Director Manning, we heard some testimony about nuance between whether a license has lapsed or been revoked or denied. Did you have an understanding of the difference between, or the meaning of the differences of those when you consulted Director Manning for guidance on whether or not you could have a DJ while your appeal was pending?
Yeah, so I think the best way to explain it would be what we explained to Rahim, or Director Rahim, I think was in, because it was denied, so I think he had an understanding that it's more so revoked, I believe, than denied. I'm assuming this. And so it was just a miscommunication error, actually. I'll take the fault for it. Maybe I didn't communicate properly or explain him properly. But he did. But whatever we did was it was not willfully going against the compliance rules.
Let me ask a better question, because I didn't ask a good question there. Did you intentionally mislead Mr. Manning when you were seeking advice on whether or not you could operate with a DJ while your appeal was pending?
I'm going to object to that as a leading question. I've given a lot of grace, but it's basically putting the words in his mouth.
Okay. Would you reframe, please?
What was your intent when you explained to Mr. Manning the situation you were facing regarding the pending appeal of your special occupancy, assembly and occupancy license?
So our intent was very clear because we wanted to be compliant and we wanted to get our special assembly license back. And after reaching out to Director Manning, all the information we received from them, we did follow up with that. We did appeal. We went through the proper process and we had the proper documents for it. So there was no intention of willfully giving false information.
On August 8th, 2025, there was a CVN issued based on an alleged bar check that happened at Mirage. Are you aware of that CVN?
Yes.
Did a bar check actually occur at Mirage on August 8th, 2025?
It did not occur at all.
And how can you speak so authoritatively on that?
One, because our security team was there on site. Also, we had, and this was basically, is it fine if I go into specifics of this? Okay. So this is Lieutenant Rogers came outside the establishment. She didn't even step outside of her car. She simply spoke to the security team saying the music is loud. And when the door opens up, so you could obviously, as soon as somebody would open the door, you could hear the music. So she asked them to turn the music down, which they did. And she just drove off. And then we received a CVN stating that we had a live DJ, our food license was expired, and a few other things as well, which one, she never came inside the establishment. This never happened. She completely falsified the CVN. Then to follow up on that, I did write an email to the captain to interrogate this, and I specifically asked him that this CVN or this incident never happened. I just never received any reply to any of that.
Question for you. Are you going to introduce any information regarding the valid licenses, Mr. Mincy?
So,
Well, he's referencing here food license being valid and the fact that he believes that Lieutenant falsified her report. Do you have anything to rebut that other than his testimony?
I think the lieutenant actually testified that she said that the license was not displayed and that he showed her the PDF version of the license and that he explained to her that he didn't think that he could print a copy and he was waiting for the original. So I think we addressed it. I mean, I guess he
Okay.
can talk about it too, but I know that I asked and talked to the lieutenant specifically about this, and she testified that part of her, I think it was part of her presentation to make it seem like
She didn't have the valid food license displayed, was
it
her
wasn't
language.
displayed, but that
Okay.
he showed her that he actually had a
Okay.
valid
All right.
food
Let's,
license.
okay.
And that he explained to her that he didn't know that he was allowed to print a copy, that he was waiting for
Okay.
the original to come.
All right. Okay, I'm good.
Mr. Pervez, throughout your time operating Mirage Lounge, have you made consistent efforts to comply with city regulations and work with city officials?
Always.
Are you willing to operate Mirage Lounge in full compliance with all applicable regulations if this board grants your special assembly license?
Absolutely.
Are there any measures that you have taken or are prepared to take to address any legitimate concerns about your operation?
Do you mind repeating the question again?
What measures have you taken or are you prepared to take to address any legitimate concerns about your operations at Mirage?
Sure. So the major issues that would occur on South Street and related to our business too would always be during summertime, and that's because of excessive crowd coming to South Street. We have addressed that with the PPD before, and we have our own security measures in place. As a matter of fact, we hire extra security for ourselves and also to help that last block of South Street as well. We have protocols in place to clear our patrons right away, so no one stands there, no one makes noise, and we have never had that issue at all because we do a very good job in serving them when they're inside the business. So, in our opinion, in this instance, they're always happy to understand and help us with this. When it comes to other people on South Street who just happen to enjoy the weather and want to be on South Street, we had made a proposal to PPD to help them in that instance, which was to help them with, we would pay for a police detail to help them with that, because obviously our security does not have jurisdiction over our own area, our own premises. So we did make that request that we would be happy to do that, because only 3-4 months anyway, because if majority of the times PPD is short-staffed, so to help them in that way, and if you need us to do that, we would more than happy to do that.
Do you believe that Mirage Lounge, if it is granted its license, can operate as a safe, compliant, and positive contributor to the South Street corridor?
Absolutely, and we always have been.
I don't have any other questions for Mr. Pervez.
Thank you. Any cross-examination?
Yes, Chairman Woodson. Good afternoon, Mr. Pervez. Now, before we get too into the weeds, I was hoping you could help me with understanding your business, I guess, generally. What is the address of Mirage Lounge?
Sure. So it's 1117 and a half to 1119 South Street.
Could you repeat?
119, sorry.
And so, permission to share my screen, Chairman.
Yes.
I just wanted to pull up Philadelphia's property system. Sorry, give me 1 second. Mr. Pervez, can you see what's on the screen right now? I can zoom in if you need to.
Yes.
So this is an official city website. You can kind of look at parcels and stuff. I enlarged, actually give me a second because I need to be able to.
You might want to zoom in on the
So
picture.
I'm going to enlarge the on the bottom right.
That's okay.
So it's just basically like, it's called Cyclomedia. It's essentially the city's version of Google Maps.
That's fine.
Let me. So can you confirm that this is your business here?
Yep, that's right.
And so your business takes up 2 parcels, correct? That's what you testified to earlier?
That is right, yes.
So what are the 2 parcels it takes up?
1117 and a half and 119
119 and 117A.
and a half.
And a half, okay.
Right.
Now, what was my screen? Okay, stop sharing. Miss,
I have a question. Will you put that up back again, please? Just. The properties to the right, if we're viewing
This-
as if we're standing across the street from your location,
Yes.
how are they occupied? Are they residential of on the ground floor, second floor, upper floors? Are they residential?
They're commercial.
The commercial?
Commercial,
in
yeah.
the whole building, all the way up to this ground level as well as above?
Oh no, those are residential, right above us. Yes.
Okay, so the residential's apartments next door to your nightclub?
That is well, it's not a nightclub. It's a
Lounge.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, next door to your lounge?
Correct.
Okay. And the balance of that block is occupied essentially with residences on the second and third level up on that block, on that side of the street?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
so Mr. Pervez, as we just established, Mirage Lounge operates on 2 parcels, correct? The 117A and the 119 parcel.
Yes.
117 and a half, excuse me, sorry. 117 and a half and 119.
Yes.
Now I'm gonna share my screen again. This was previously marked as city exhibit. I don't want to get this wrong. I believe D. Mr. Professor, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
Could you tell the board what this document is?
It's Special Assembly occupancy license.
And Mr. Pervez, what property is this license issued to?
119 South Street.
Did you apply for any licenses for 117 and a half South Street?
So when you apply for it, they specifically ask you to just put one address. That's basically what it does. It's the same thing on a liquor license. It's the same thing on all licenses.
So your testimony is that you don't need that license, you just need it for the one property, correct? He said put one address, I think. that's
Okay, wait. Okay. What is your objection? Okay,
I'm sorry, Your Honor, or Mr. Chairman, I'm not hearing.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
please repeat your objection.
What Mr. Pervez testified was that when you apply for these licenses, they ask you to provide one address. And what counsel for the city tried to do was say that it's your testimony that you don't have to do whatever. And all I'm saying is that that's a mischaracterization of the testimony that Mr. Pervez
Okay,
provided.
all right. Well, okay, I'll sustain the objection, but I guess the question for you, Mr. Missouri, the issue is, does the license cover the total business from one
If I can
17
ask the
to?
questions without,
Then I would also object because that is not that's never been a basis as far as all the documents that have been presented so far in this matter. And like anything that's been on the record, there's never been the basis for denying the license was he didn't add 117A
Oh,
to
okay.
the to the application.
Understood. Understood.
For the city's perspective, I agree. They're asking the board today to grant the special assembly occupancy license for this property. I certainly think it's relevant whether the board's granting of such license would allow them to operate as a special assembly occupancy license, whether they would need additional licenses, other issues may be associated with these parceling issues. I certainly think that's a relevant issue for the board to determine if they're here asking the board.
Well,
to
let's do
grant the
this.
License.
Yeah, wait. He responded. That's his response. So let's move on. Okay?
So, Mr. Pervez, you're just to clarify that point, you said when you apply for the license, they ask you to select one address, correct?
Objection. It's not relevant.
Okay, so noted. I'm overruling the objection. We're going to move on.
If I could state my grounds. and
You
then
did
I
earlier.
respect- I respect.
But
This is
and I don't
an
want you to
appeal.
restate what you stated.
I'm not restating.
Okay.
This is an appeal of a denial. The reasons for the denial were listed in the letter. The questions that he is going down are not anywhere in the denial letter, and that's why I'm saying it's not relevant.
Okay, all right, thank you. So noted. I'm overruling the objection. I'm asking him to proceed.
Do you want me to re-ask that question, Mr. Pervez?
Yes, please.
So just to clarify your testimony, it is that when you went to apply for the special assembly occupancy license, they just asked you to select one address.
That is right.
Did you ever think that you need a license for other addresses if you operate on two addresses?
Objection. Same objection.
So noted.
What's the ruling?
Overruled.
Can you repeat the question again?
Did you consider that you may need a license for the other parcel you operate out of?
Technically, no, because it's even though it's technically two addresses, there's no division between them. So you are looking from the outside, but if you look from the inside, there's no division between the address.
Mr. Pervez, could you describe generally to me the type of business that Mirage conducts?
Sure, absolutely. So Mirage is a restaurant lounge, which we serve. It's mainly all seating. There's no dance floor. So primarily it's Mediterranean fusion food. We have cocktails, drinks, hookah, and bottle service for birthdays.
Now, Mr. Pervez, we've heard a lot today about the RCOs, the bid, other community organizations, correct?
Yeah.
How long have you had problems with the RCO?
Quite recently. We've never really had a direct issues with the RCO. It has primarily just been individual neighbors complaining, and majority of them don't even live near Mirage at all.
So,
sorry. So and majority. So it has never really been. It has not really been permanently RCOs. It has mainly been individuals who live in the area, and majority of them have never even lived on that specific block of South Street.
You heard Director Manning's testimony earlier. There were meetings as early as June of 2023 with the RCOs, correct?
That is right.
Now, regarding the application for the special assembly occupancy license, did you submit that application?
Yes.
And approximately when did you first obtain that license?
That must have been in 2018 first, which would probably mean we have renewed it 3 times.
Okay, I didn't get a date when you first obtained the license.
I'm sorry, I don't have the exact date, but it has to be in 2018 when we opened up.
2018?
Correct.
Okay.
Now, as the owner operator of Mirage Lounge, Mr. Pervez, did you apply for the special assembly occupancy license?
Yes.
Would you recognize that application if you saw it?
Yes, yeah. So just to clarify, either it would.
No, 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 no. You had to wait till there's a question put to you, okay?
Mr. Pervez, do you recognize?
Yeah, thank you. That's what I was gonna ask. Which license is this? I mean, which date? When was it submitted?
I don't see a date on this, but the question for Mr. Pervez is if he recognizes it.
Okay.
Chair, I would object, and it's a similar objection to what was raised by the city back in February. This is something, I don't believe this was submitted in any exhibit packet provided to us to talk about a license from. It looked like the date on the bottom, that might have been like 2020. I'm not.
Was this part of the original?
This was not.
This was not?
No.
Okay, so let's move on from this then.
Mr. Pervez, do you have a food license for your business?
Yes, we do.
And do you know what address that food license is associated with?
It should be 119 South Street.
Okay. So as for your certifications, right? So fire alarm certs, do you know what address those are associated with?
That should also be 119 South Street.
Okay. No further questions for Mr. Pervez.
Okay, before any redirect, Mr. Perez? Yes,
Just one question.
okay,
Maybe two, depending on what he says.
okay.
Has the city ever denied an application that you have filed because the address didn't include 17 and a half?
Never.
I don't have any other questions.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions of Mr. Pervez? I do, so I just want to make sure everyone else. Mr. Pervez, how long have you operated a food establishment or lounge in the city of Philadelphia?
This specific location for.
No, not this specific location, in general. I mean, have you owned 4, 5, 10, 15, 20 other businesses?
I would assume roughly about nine years.
You've operated about 9 years, and you've operated this location since when?
The last 7 years.
Okay, so you were in a different location, different part of town previously?
That is right, yes.
Okay, and so you are an experienced operator?
Relatively, yes.
I'm not sure I understand what that means.
Yes.
You're an experienced operator?
Yes.
Okay, and are you the sole owner operator?
Yes.
Okay, do you have managers who work for you at that location?
Yes.
Okay, so you aren't always there yourself, doing operating hours?
I am there easily 90% of the times.
Okay, okay. Now, when you had this issue with your special assembly license, I've not heard any testimony, I don't believe, that you contacted the Department of License and Inspections?
I did.
You did? You asked them about your special assembly license and what you need to do next?
Yes, I did.
And what did they tell you?
Well, I reached out to them, and the reply that I received for them was very confusing. So I reached out to Director Rahim Manning's office to get some clarity.
Why did you believe Manning could give you clarity to LNI response?
Because as part of actually helping businesses, they can actually give you direct information, which so you don't have to waste time trying to figure it out at your own. And sometimes when you go to LNI, they do not give you just the right information. You will hear multiple things from multiple different people.
And you spoke to senior management at LNI as to what was happening with your business?
Well, yes, I did actually, but just because it was time sensitive, and we wanted to make sure we have the right information, and that's why we reached out to their office to see if they could give us more accurate information.
Okay. Did you have your attorney or anyone review the code for you and tell you what you were looking at?
Well, there was at that specific time I believe there was no need to bring in attorneys. This was,
But you misunderstand my question. You were looking at a license that
Right.
was important to you,
Right.
that affects your revenue.
right,
And so you needed to understand, I would expect to understand all the nuances and the requirements of maintaining that license. So I'm asking you, you didn't reach out or seek an audience with anyone senior at LNI based on your testimony, correct?
well, so in this specific case, to our judgment, we thought that Director Rahim's office would be able to give us the most accurate information for us to be able to proceed with our next steps, which we did file the appeal as well as might be a part of the exhibits. I'm sorry. So we did file the appeal based on the information we received, and which we thought would have been enough.
Okay, but you since learned that that information was not accurate, correct?
That is right. Yes.
Maybe if I could just ask, like, when you're talking about that information, maybe you could just
Or this issue of
provide the
whether,
information that-
well, yeah, the information that Mr. Manning also testified to as to the nature of the license itself and whether it was a lapsed license or whether it was an application for a new license. So all of those details matter as you've since learned.
Right. Yes.
Okay, so that's why I was asking you, who did you talk to? Who did you ask the experts, the people who will have this to make a decision about your license
Well, so after that incident, we actually did reach out to our lawyers, and
afterwards,
Correct.
but not before. Okay, okay. Do you know if there are any other special assembly licenses in that block? Any other companies, organizations?
Yes.
There are on your block?
There's 3 of them.
3 with special assembly licenses? Okay, all right. And thank you. Any additional witnesses?
Would just recall Director Manning based on the questions.
Before you do that, could I ask?
Please, yes.
Mr. Pervez, how many occupants does your facility hold?
It holds about it holds about 220 people. But just the way we have designed the venue, we would never exceed 160.
So it's your testimony that you've never had more than 160 people in the location?
That would be right, yes.
Okay. So when people come in for an event, are they ticketed? Do they get a wristband? Do they have a stamp? Anything to identify that they're in your club and not in any other club?
They
And
are.
I beg your pardon for calling it a club, your
Yeah,
lounge.
That's completely fine. It's so we would so we do not ticket them, but these are prior reservations. So majority of the times we do know their names, we do know how many people they're with, and if they're there, we are most probably serving them for about 2 to 3 hours at least. So we are very aware of who is our patron and who's not our patron.
And are people allowed to enter the lounge and leave and come back in at different times?
That is not allowed.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out how how you know for certain that persons outside of the building making noise are not your patrons.
I see. Well, it's
Go out and identify them? Does your security staff identify
so
them?
because we have permanent security, they do identify everybody. We also have ID scanners as well, which we do use for people to check the IDs. I mean, the venue is for at least our staff. Generally speaking, the venue is not big enough. It's if I explain this in a way, someone who's operating it, who's a manager, and somebody who is running security there, it's very easy to identify who have they seen in the venue or who have they come across or not.
And how many members are on your security staff?
Typically 5 to 6.
Typically, let's say on July 2nd, when there was this report of a noise disturbance, how many people were on staff that night?
That would have been probably 7 to 8, because when when there are bigger events like Cinco de Mayo or 4th of July or New Year's Eve, because there's so much crowd on South Street, we typically tend to hire more security personnel.
And are they all located outside or or are they within the facility as well?
So at least 4 to 5 of them would be outside the premises. Rest would be inside the premises.
And when people exit the premises, I'm sorry, I withdraw that. Never mind. Thank you very much.
Sure,
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Okay.
None from me.
Any additional witnesses?
I would just recall Director Manning for a
Okay.
brief question.
Yes. Yes,
No
please.
no need to re-swear him.
No.
correct? Director Manning, you heard discussion about what the owner of a establishment should do in regards to their license and who they should contact. And we heard Mr. Pervez say that he contacted your office because he thought that your office could give the most accurate information. Is that something that you encourage business owners to do, or do you guys push back against that?
I don't, it's not only encourages the policy and the mandate for the Department of Commerce to be the intermediary for any businesses and any department. We even have a whole office, the Mayor's Business Action Team, that regularly and is responsible for intermediary between businesses and departments within the city. So it is a regular, established, and promoted from the administration and the city's practice that businesses reach out to the Department of Commerce if they're confused with any city process, law, or have any issues with any departments, licensing, inspections, anything of that sort.
And do you require the owners to have their lawyers reach out, or is it just the owners who are encouraged to reach out?
It's the owners, the management, or anybody operating, particularly the business, to reach out. We also do outreach and go out to businesses to bridge the gap between city departments and the understanding of processes with city departments and businesses.
I don't have any other questions for Director Manning.
Anyone else? Mr. Manning, I do have this question. Any
No,
cross? My apologies. Any cross?
No cross-examination.
Okay. Mr. Manning, in the statement you made regarding responding to businesses and that sort of thing, do you respond by putting them in touch with the department decision makers, or do you attempt to give your response independent of the department?
No, we work with all of the departments, even in this particular case when Mr. Salim reached out about the concern about the SAOL. Our response about him being able to operate if it's under appeal had the department on there, L&I specifically. So we make sure that. the
Okay, but
department doesn't want-
you aren't understanding the nuance that I'm asking you then. For instance, before you respond to a business, would you in fact call the department management and say, hey, I got this situation?
Oh, absolutely, because I just don't know all this stuff.
Okay, and you did that in this instance?
Absolutely.
And that was the response you got from the department, that in fact, your answer was the appropriate answer?
That's correct. And not only do I, get that response or because there's nuances in a bunch of cases, right, or what they're dealing with. We cover our behind in the Department of Commerce because we add who we spoke to. Hey,
So why was it wrong in this instance?
Again, the business provided to us that their SAOL was revoked or denied. Again, I reached out to the Department of not Department of Commerce, the Department of License and Inspection, and found out what their procedure was for denial or revoked licenses. We were informed and also had my leadership on, because just being completely transparent, when this came through, it's already an issue that the city was aware of, right? So it wasn't something that we willy-nilly took. I ran it all the way up to leadership because the mayor's office at the time was involved in some of the stuff that was going on. So I ran it all the way up before we gave an answer, and then CC'd everyone that provided the information back because we knew it was sensitive. But then again, when PPD went out later, it came back after he reached out and said he got a CVN. We brought everybody back together again, and then that's when it was determined that, hey, it wasn't revoked or denied, it lapsed. And so that came out the day later with the same leadership group on that email.
Okay, all right. And I have a broader policy question for you. How do you balance, as the nightlife person, the desire of any entertainment venue to operate to maximum capacity in a neighborhood that's also heavily populated by residences? You have people who are sharing walls with the venue that has a special assembly license, for instance. Not just this one, but multiple. So how do you balance that? Whose needs become paramount?
Yeah, so it's not the policy of my team to put anybody's needs over someone else, right? A lot of times we have gone out to businesses and like, hey, people around here need to sleep. We'll bring our health, air quality control management out. We will put, they will put a decibel reader in, and we will tell that business, hey, you are impeding upon, right? But on the other part, again, just being very transparent in my role, there are also unreasonable requests put on businesses, right, from neighbors because of whatever reason or they have, and we try to mediate away from that.
I'm
So we
sorry
help-
to interrupt. I just got a message that our video feed is frozen. I want to confirm. Ms. Khadijah George, can you confirm that you can hear us? And more importantly, Mr. Kelly, can you hear us?
This is the reporter speaking. I have noticed that the hearing room camera with counsel and the witness is frozen. No one else is.
Okay. So we're just gonna troubleshoot that. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's do this. Let's go off the record for a moment, just so we can do that, to make sure that
I should just mention that the audio has been flawless. It hasn't been a problem at all.
Okay. All right, thank you. Given
back on the-
we have noticed, we're back on the record, we've noticed a technical glitch in the camera itself, but the audio is fine, and people are able to see both counsel and witnesses, and they can hear the testimony from everyone. So we're going to proceed with that. Just note that for the record that we did go off the record to check it out. Okay, I believe, Mr. Manning, you were responding to a question?
Yeah, and just to restate the question, I believe you asked.
Yeah, I was trying to get a sense of the city's policy as it relates to venues like this on any street in the city that's operating in a heavily residential community. How do you balance the needs of both?
I think that's the point of my role, trying to manage that. It's
Yeah.
not a perfect thing. And, we are just one of those cities where all of our nightlife is on corridors. It's butted up against residential. And some places it works a little better, some places it doesn't, pardon me. What our goal is usually try to mitigate what we're putting on the business. What I hear a lot of times is we'll get complaints from neighbors. We'll go to a neighborhood meeting. What is your concern with this business? I can't park at night when I come home, right? So is that something that's the business's, problem, or is that something that we as the city try to help using the resources that we have? Like, how can we ensure that this business can operate? How can we ensure that neighbors can park? And I think there's a balancing act between the two. I think what is sometimes a little difficult is when those issues are selectively applied by neighbors, and it's not really the city. We are a complaint-driven city, so if a complaint happens, we have to respond. Every department has its required SOPs, and so sometimes we try to jump in there to give businesses like, hey, is this a legitimate complaint? Is this something that's legitimately on the business, the nightlife business, that they can fix, change, or do better? And are they compliant, right? That's
Okay.
the part there.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Director Manning, to that extent, you mentioned that you did have a meeting with, at one point with some of the people involved. Was that only one meeting that you had?
No, with the RCOs for South Street, particularly with
Yeah,
this issue.
yeah.
Now I had multiple meetings with them. One, because I joined the South Street Nightlife Task Force meetings, which are the RCOs, the bid, and the state representative office there without the business about the concerns around this business and others, and plus the meetings with the business that we stated. And just to be very honest, as we tried to help and mitigate this situation, of course, I end up in the middle of it. There are concerns that I took all the way up to my leadership about how things were said on those meetings, about like, we don't want those type of people in our neighborhood or those type of businesses on South Street. And, not to point fingers or make any assessments of those were concerns I heard. And that's why when I got an email, when this came to me again, I ran it all the way up to the mayor's office, because again, this is something that I think is bigger than how we're enforcing one particular business, but are we setting our businesses up for success wherever they are?
And with respect to, getting beyond the RCOs, did you meet with, anybody, like people who were familiar with the establishment from L&I, and with people from the police department, or, others that may have encountered this establishment and came away like thinking, well, it's a problem? I mean, have you talked to those people?
Yes, so the meeting that I hosted at the Department of Commerce, we brought L&I in, they were there. It was Renee Reinhardt at the time, who was leading the nuisance and business division. She was there. And, you know, L&I's standpoint is going to be black and white most of the time. At that time, the business did not have any violations or open. Now, since, you know, we're here, but at that time, there were none. We also had the state there as well. At that
This is the reporter. My audio has cut off. Hello?
Hey, hold on a moment, just for a moment, go off the record just for a moment. Mr. Kelly, I assume you can't hear me then?
Yes, I can, Chair, but my audio just cut out for a second
Okay.
during that response. I apologize.
testing. Can you hear me?
This is the reporter. Yes, I can.
Okay. All right. Do you need any of the testimony to be restated?
It was in the middle of the response.
Okay. Can you do this? Can you read the last complete sentence that you heard?
I'll need a
Is that
minute.
possible?
It would be easier to just have the witness repeat the last little bit of his response, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I was stopped maybe.
Wait. Okay. All right. We're going to go back on the record.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Mr. Manning?
No problem, Mr. Jefferson. I think I was stopped at the point where I was explaining that we had those departments and L&I, other enforcement agencies that at that time had no open or any violations there. But I think the second part of your question, were other departments, did they disagree with, I guess, my personal assessment? Yes, PPD, particularly the Lieutenant Ricci, who was there representing the South Street Mini District, did have concerns. He has always voiced that he had concerns with how Mirage was operating and, in his opinion, his professional opinion. But however, just in full transparency, those concerns were relayed during this meeting with other departments and the mayor's office there. And we all pushed back on how those concerns were put, in which earlier in my testimony, I said some of the concerns were that this happened around the corner, but I know these type of people go to Mirage, or we walked down the street and saw this, and then I waited, that person came out of Mirage to this car. And so there was pushback specifically from the mayor's office of minority business success about where fairness comes in at. And police are given leeway to create nexuses, right, of activity to businesses. But again, that's based on, you know, their professional opinion, and there was some disagreement there.
Okay, and I don't want to belabor the point, but you know, there are some objective documents that were created during the course of, you know, after your meeting in 2024. 2025 was a pretty busy year in terms of complaints and you know, like lapses of licenses and things of that nature. So you never really challenged any of the city department with respect to veracity of the reports that they were making, did you?
So yes, but let me just be very clear. Our city departments are amazing, especially our enforcement departments. They work really hard to do their job. And I rarely disagree with, you know, their assessments. They go out, they see something, they cite it. However, I think where we have collectively kind of pushed back in this matter is the amount of times that this business has been inspected. And again, the amount of times that it has been inspected and not cited versus, okay, now we have citations that have happened. And, you know, my theory on that is that, you know, if the business has been cited for something that it did wrong, is the paperwork there, then the business is wrong. But if you, again, go into the kitchen 100 times, you catch somebody with their hand in the fridge, is that a fair use of the city's services to be going out to this business that many times? Because if we go out to any nightlife business, the amount of times that I've seen, particularly in this case, we're going to find something. We do it all the time in businesses, remedy it, and we go on. It's a natural practice, especially with nightlife businesses, because there's so many things they have to do.
Okay.
I hope that's a fair answer for
So
you.
basically, it's like when the call went out, they responded.
Yep.
And then they responded like to follow up the call, and then they responded again to follow up the call, and invariably in each one, they found some problem.
Correct. And the way our processes are, whether it's through 311 or directly through departments, a complaint gets a response. So, you know, and I've seen this in other parts, take away this case, where I've had situations where I've had to call department chairs at state and local level and say, we are not responding to complaints anymore because it got so overwhelming that every time it was complaint, we would go out. And so there's a balance in between, what departments can do, right? They are going to respond to a complaint because we want to make sure everybody's safe and compliant. And that's usually how we find out if somebody is or not. So
And I'll just follow up with that. If the residents, whether they be neighbors or individuals who live in a neighborhood, believe a operation is a nuisance, however it's defined by them and the police, what normally happens in terms of the job that you do?
So if we have a business that's determined by neighbors, whatever way it comes to me, and it can come to me through council, mayor's office, or a department that's official, then we first go and engage with the business. We see what is their willingness to become compliant, to be good neighbors. We mediate between the RCO and the business to see, okay, what's realistic that we can come to an agreement. And so we do those mitigations. And if a business continues to violate, what is law, then they go through what we call the 990 process, which I think you guys might be familiar with. We designate it as a chronic nuisance, and then we proceed to shut it down. And not particularly we, I say as the city when I say we. And if there is a beginning of that process, most departments, because of my role and relationship to the nighttime economy, will bring me in to see if there's a mitigating way to bring a business to compliance first. And then we go to 990 if they're not, and they get shut down.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from anyone?
I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible. So I believe that Mr. Pervez said that there were other or similar businesses on that same block. Can you tell us how many other similar businesses are on that block? Because looking at Google Maps, I only saw one thing that I thought, which appears to be right next door, that appears to be a club or lounge or something similar. Is that correct?
No, the business next door to Mirage now is like a game store, so they usually close at a certain point. But on that second, the second and third intersection, that block, there's Mirage, there's Patty Wax, there's Bridget Foy, and there's another newer business that's across the street from Mirage. So there's multiple.
So Bridget Foy's that is south and
like going towards Second,
going
like on the other
towards
side.
Second, and so that's a full block and a half above, isn't it, Bridget Foy?
About a half a block.
Half a block,
Yeah.
okay. And Bridget Foy's is basically a restaurant that generally closes around, 1 o'clock in the morning?
Correct, yeah. And then Patty Wax is next to it as well.
Okay. And so I think that I heard something in your testimony that suggested that some of the complaints were based on not the type of business, but who's operating the business.
Or who's patronizing.
Or who's patronizing. I'm going to ask this question. So are you getting similar nuisance complaints up at Bridget for the establishments that are 2 or 3 blocks above Mirage Lounge?
No, and to give a direct correlation of maybe some discrepancy, and again, this is just from my experience, I'm not, pointing fingers. There was a situation that was brought to my attention on South Street one summer where Patty Wax had, a bunch of people there, particularly I think they were college, and this is just what I was told. And there was like a fight, like a brawl in the middle of Second and South, and I was told almost 100 or so kids that were fighting, but they were particularly all white college kind of kids, and that came from an unofficial source because again, that happened, but no complaints were ever lodged or registered. And again, I can only take on how I'm bringing it in and what I see, so I'm not putting this out there as any facts or what or not. But I never got any calls about Patty Wax being nuisance or any complaints or CVNs or whatever put in, and it could be or not be. But there was never any escalation of, hey, Patty Wax needs something to be taken care of, right? And even on my experience with the South Street Nightlife Task Force, is that I had attended that for almost a year straight before I have not been on them since some of the issues. It was always businesses that served Black and brown people. And I think where, in my professional opinion, and I have run this up to my leadership, just to be clear, is that it's problematic language associated with some of the behavior, right? There may very well be some valid complaints in here about the amount of people and what's going on. But when I'm on a call trying to help and bridge the gap between a business and residents, and I hear things like, oh, the business should go on IG and see who's coming in and deny people based on their IG page, or we don't want those type of businesses on South Street anymore, or those type of peoples, I can't take out that context in how I've been brought into this. Sure. And, you can take all of my testimony with that context. But what I will say is I have done my job completely. I have not made this a thing where it's been my opinion. I have run it to every relevant department when it comes to things that come from South Street, and just blatantly, this is not the only business that I am getting and involved with that feels some type of way about how they have been attacked.
So I'm just going to ask one last question. Has there been like a data comparison in terms of establishments other than Mirage Lounge and the numbers of complaints that come in for similar establishments on South? Has there been any sort of, I'm not, but you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
a comparison, a point-to-point comparison of some sort for other establishments on South Street?
The closest thing I can speak to, and this may be very well out of scope, is that, the Department of Commerce supports all of our business improvement districts, funding, any kind of legal support, whatever they need, we support their reauthorization through council, all of that. Because of some of the things that were happening on South Street, the Department of Commerce funded a study and an investment into the South Street Head House District, which were having a lot of issues before Eleanor came in that she's been actively trying to fix, which is funding and all of that. And in that report, one of the main issues that came out of there was how minority businesses were treated or supported or lack thereof in that. And that was from a professional outside consultant, which, when we got that report back, it was like, okay, we are seeing that as well. And that's the most I can have. We haven't pulled any particular city data.
Thank you very much.
Any additional witnesses? You excuse, sir.
I am free to go.
No, not to go. You're excused to take your seat. Yeah.
I'm sorry, this is the reporter. I'm not hearing a response.
Sorry, I keep forgetting.
Okay, now, this letter of support from the council person, he's an elected official, so of course, but he doesn't represent South Street, does he?
I don't think he does.
He does not. He's not a large member.
I'm not sure. What's the relevance of his comments?
I think he's familiar with we can look at his letter.
Yeah, I mean, as a matter of courtesy to an elected official, of course, we'll give it the weight that it deserves.
Yeah, there's a councilman.
Any objection?
Just for the record, I object. Councilmember Thomas isn't here to support the letter, to testify about the letter.
Okay, is the letter addressed to the board?
Yes,
It is addressed to the board.
yes, it's Exhibit H. So I guess would be page 114, 115 of the PDF.
Okay, if it's addressed to the board, you can note it as being part of the record. Okay?
My looking at this letter, it's not addressed to the board.
Your Honor.
It was written back in November 25th of 2025. Again, I don't think this letter has any relevance to the proceedings. The council member is not here to testify about it. This means nothing at this point.
Okay, all right, as I said earlier, we'll give it the weight that it deserves in terms of our review. And again, I'll just state that as an elected official, I'll give due deference to his role as an elected official in the city of Philadelphia. But it doesn't have a lot of relevance and weight on this case.
I mean, we can produce Councilman Thomas if we need to.
Well, as he's here today, right now, it didn't work. We aren't going to continue the hearing just to hear from him.
I don't have anything else to say. about
Okay,
that.
thank you. All righty. What we will now do is that if we've heard from all the witnesses, we will do this. We will have final argument from both sides, a short argument. We will take this under advisement. We are not going to vote with a decision today. We will have a public vote for you, but I want to take this under advisement. We need to confer after you give your final closing arguments, okay? All right. Mr. Mincy?
Okay, well, I want to thank the board and the panel for your time over these I feel like almost 3 days. I feel like I've been here trying to address this. And I'll say, like I say, anytime I'm addressing a jury, obviously, Shalim Enterprises is entitled to zealous advocacy. So if anything I've done in my advocacy offended anybody, please hold it against me. Do not hold it against my client. But I think that what we've shown here today is that Shalim Enterprises and Mr. Pervez have raised these issues and concerns about the neighborhood associations and the treatment and the targeting of PPD before, back in 2023, again in 2024. The response by PPD if we recall, Lieutenant Ricci's testimony was to pull back support of Mirage, pull back cooperation with Mirage, make it more difficult for them to be able to work and do things and be a successful, good neighbor in the community in the South Street area and the Queen Village area. And that's really, to me, that's indicative and just a perfect display of exactly how they're treating businesses like Mirage and other businesses like Mirage. Mirage made what they believe to be a valid complaint, what I believe to be a valid complaint, what Mr. Manning has testified here was a valid complaint. And the response of PPD was to basically stop cooperating with them. And then the inspections increased. And then the CVNs increased. And even when a CVN was issued and you would have someone like Director Manning say, hey, look, this looks like this was a misunderstanding. We should void this CVN. They did not void the CVN. And the language that Mr. Manning testified to that was going on at those meetings is concerning. They don't want those type of people being down here. We don't want those type of businesses being down here. The city and the board can't stand for that stuff. And that's why Mr. Manning came in here and testified. He's a credible witness. I don't think there's really anything that anyone could take issue with Mr. Manning's testimony here today. I think he did his best to answer the board's questions and be clear. Regarding the allegation, the baseless and unfounded allegation of there being an expired liquor license here today, which was the first time we had ever heard anything about that. The city has a burden. The city has to, if they're going to make that type of allegation, they have to support that. We just had a police officer come in here and say that their liquor license was expired with no basis or no evidence. Their testimony about the food safety license, Mr. Brevez produced that PDF version of the valid license. The only issue was that it wasn't in the window. It wasn't an issue that they didn't have it, right? It's not an issue that they didn't have it. And the real issue about the DJ and whether or not they, whether or not the appeal gave them permission, I think Mr. Brevez explained it. Mr. Manning explained that essentially there's just miscommunication between the parties about the status of the application, which led to Mr. Brevez getting bad advice from Mr. Manning in the city. But I think that all the evidence suggests that there's no willful attempt here to disobey the law or skirt any code violations by operating with a DJ after their specialist occupancy and assembly license had lapsed. So I think that it's important. The willfulness is an important thing. I think that if we were talking about a business that was constantly and willfully violating Philadelphia code, that's one thing. When it's when the chief or one of the main pieces of evidence is really a misunderstanding, I think that's another thing. And then when we talk about, we think back to the February portion of the hearing and the body camera footage that was displayed. We're talking about these licenses cover a 2-year period. And what the city did here was essentially cherry pick some body camera video, like 3 or 4 clips from a 2-year span and say, these are examples of how Mirage operates all the time. Well, if Mirage operated like that all the time, it wouldn't just be 4 little 30-second, 1-minute clips. We'd have spent the entire hearing today in February, back in January, like it would have been all video of all the things that Mirage does wrong. But they cherry pick these 4 things and come in here and try and tell you, like, this is why the business isn't suitable. And this is why they're not good neighbors in that neighborhood. I think that, is it difficult to balance the needs of folks who live in residential buildings versus commercial buildings? Like Philadelphia is a complex city with complex zoning and complex buildings all over the place. I think that what we've heard is that Mirage has done its best to comply with all noise ordinances, cooperate and work with police to address any issues, whether it's people outside their establishment who they do not even have authority to move or do anything about. They're still making efforts to get those people off of their block, to protect the neighbors that they work next to, who live there, to make sure that their neighborhood isn't disturbed any more than it would be just from the regular course of business that Mirage operates. The city is now trying to put on them the responsibility to police people on the street when they walk away. Oh, they went a block away and turned their music up. How can Mirage be responsible for that when the police officers who are out there aren't doing anything about it, right? If they're sitting there watching it happen and not doing anything about it, how can they expect Mr. Pervez and his private security team to be the people who are policing the sound and policing loud talking and policing people standing on the corner after they've already put them out of their private establishment? So I do think that they've made it increasingly difficult for Mirage to work and exist on that block. They have done, Mirage, Mr. Pervez has done everything that it could to be a good neighbor, to be a compliant neighbor. When they have had their missteps, I think they have recognized them and reached out to police, reached out to the city to find out what their next steps should be. How can we be compliant? What can we do to make this right? They've worked on bringing community meetings together to meet with their neighbors, to address certain issues with their neighbors. These are all things that we want our business owners to do. And so if a neighborhood organization or a RCO decides that they just want to flood PPD with complaints, then yes, it will look like Mirage has more complaints than other places. As Mr. Manning said, when we have complaints, we have to respond. But even some of the instances and the evidence that we saw here where police were responding to complaints that were ultimately unfounded, but then still being held against Mirage as like police contact and police activity at their establishment seems to be unfair. And so Mirage has been in existence and working at that location since 2018. They've been renewed multiple times since 2018. We're asking the board to consider the appeal and to grant the appeal and allow them to have their special occupancy and assembly license renewed based on the fact that they have been a good citizen for 8 years at that location. And if they continue to, if you continue to target them and want to inspect them all the time, you could nitpick them, I guess, like any establishment and find small issues. But I don't think what we heard was anything major that should prevent them from being able to have this license and continue to operate as they have for 8 years leading up to this.
Thank you. Mr. Dort.
So just to make sure we're all on the same page, before the board is Mirage Lounge's appeal from the July 28th, 2025 denial of the business's special assembly occupancy license. The explicit reason for that denial was that the Philadelphia Police Department and the Department of Licenses and Inspections determined that this location was not suitable for this business to operate as a special assembly occupancy based on those departments' history with the property. First, you heard Supervisor Natasha Lee testify as a representative of LNI. Supervisor Lee noted that this business was on her radar as the supervisor of LNI's nuisance property unit. Supervisor Lee also testified regarding CF 2024-063988, that is a notice of violations that was issued to Shalim Pervez and Shalim 2 Enterprises, which is the trade name for Mirage Lounge, or vice versa. That notice of violations had 10 open fire code violations at the time the SAOL was denied. Again, that was 10 open fire code violations in this nightclub that apparently hosts over 150 people at these 2 parcels on South Street. Then you heard Captain Stephen Ritchie's passionate testimony regarding this property. Captain Ritchie testified about his experience as the commanding officer of the South Street Mini District, in which Mirage Lounge is located. Captain Ritchie testified about the calls seemingly every other day that resulted in police having to investigate the premises, the calls that resulted in police having to disperse crowds, the calls that resulted in police having to give Mirage dozens of code violation notices, the violations that made PPD ask, can you turn down the music? Captain Ritchie also testified to code violation notices that he personally had written. And I think it's important to note that Captain Ritchie testified that he attempted to coordinate with this business. He wanted to work with the business to make sure that this business could continue to operate and it just wouldn't be a pain within his mini district. However, despite those efforts, which again, Captain Ritchie and the business testified to, the disruption and nuisances at this property continued. And then finally, you heard Lieutenant Floria Colbert Rogers. She was the commanding officer of the South Street Mini District after Captain Ritchie. You heard Lieutenant Rogers essentially echo Captain Ritchie's testimony. Despite managing a mini district with a large number of bars, with clubs and other entertainment businesses, it was Mirage Lounge that stood head and shoulders above the rest as a nuisance and as a burden on police resources. Finally, you also heard the testimony of Director Manning, who talked about how we've been working at this business for almost half a decade at this point, if not longer. The city has been trying to make this business successful on South Street. Now, once the city made its case, the burden shifted to Mirage to say, we have a right to this license. This location is suitable for our business to continue occupying the property. And I asked the board, did Mirage do this? Did Mirage explain how this club that is the purported problem child of South Street, from the captains and the commanding officers of this mini district, did they put on any evidence that this problem child that has police responses, is a drain on police resources, is going to change in the future? Or are we going to continue this pattern of working together, holding these meetings, writing CVNs, asking for change and no change occurring? Now, really what I'd ask the board is, did the appellant make a single point about how this location is suitable? Right? The appellants testified about how all these crowds come down, they try to get in Mirage, they're rejected. The crowds naturally just flow to this area and result in loud noise, disruptive crowds, whatnot. How does that make this location suitable? And so what I'd say to the board is that instead of making a case for why this property at the location is suitable for Mirage Lounge, appellant's testimony was that the city was against them, the complaints were phony, the 911 calls were phony, the investigations were phony. I want to be fair. I believe that appellants have a reasonable point that when city services are complaint-driven, so L&I, PPD, they're very complaint-driven city departments. When that is the case, there are certainly times where discriminatory neighbors who don't like a business can abuse those systems, make call after call after call, and make those departments respond to the call because that's their job. However, that logic falls apart when we look at the evidence and the experiences of L&I and PPD on this district. Those two departments went out to this property again and again, and violations of the code were present again and again. The answer is not to say, well, the neighbors don't like us, we can't do anything about it, and try to discharge blame. The answer was altering your behavior and start complying with the laws of this great city. And herein, I think, lies the basis for the city's decision to deny renewal. We're not talking about specific incidents. We're not in front of the board asking for this business to be ceased. We're not asking for it to be padlocked. We're not telling the business to move. What the city is saying is that essentially that this location has gotten out of control. You heard the testimony of the two commanding officers of the South Street Mini District. Too often, especially during the summer, police resources are being devoted to this business. They're handling let out. They're trying to urge crowds along because there are residents sprinkled above, across, and behind this business. It is simply not a location that is fit for a nightclub in the middle of this block that has DJ music blaring until 2 a.m. every night. At the end of the day, this business may simply be more suitable for Delaware Avenue or other non-residential business corridors in the city. And I want to be close. This isn't one of those cases, a standard case before the board where we're saying there are these violations, you are the responsible party for these violations. We are here saying that there's no fault being apportioned. The issue is that this location was attracting and/or just to finish up, because I'm very close to being done. I want to restate, there's no fault being apportioned here. We're not saying anyone is to blame. What the city was saying when it denied this SAOL appeal was that the business was not suitable for this location. This business was attracting and/or causing too much trouble for the South Street Mini District to handle night after night, weekend after weekend. This was drawing away resources from other businesses that may have needed police intervention, but police were stuck dealing with Mirage, again, weekend after weekend. Therefore, the city denied Mirage's application for the special assembly occupancy license, and I'm humbly asking the board to affirm the city's decision.
Okay, thank you very much. The board will take a short executive session and we'll come back before we discuss our vote. Mr. Kelly? Okay. Thank you. Okay, we're back on the record. We've heard the testimony and the presentations by council. We're going to review the notes of testimony. And after having done that, we will not vote today. We will vote at a later date in public, and we'll give you notice when that's scheduled. Okay? All right. Thank you very much for your participation and your zealous advocacy. It's always appreciated. And thank you, the witnesses. You always excused. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you, board members.
Okay.
And just for our purposes, I do believe that concludes today's regular list. Mhm. Oh, I'm sorry.
This would be where the docks would be.
Where? Tell me.
So see like in Richard.
I'm sorry.
Space. Okay, Mr. Kelly, sorry, that concluded a little quickly, but we're all finished for today.